right now you're arguing the prostitutes have no value in society, which is absurd on its face. Obviously, it's a
No,
booming industry.
nobody
We have
said
never
that.
said that, so don't strawman us.
Nobody said that
Yes,
at all, ever.
you're
Not
sitting here
once.
right now going, men don't like about prostitutes. They don't get any joy from prostitutes.
No,
No,
nobody said that.
no,
Nobody
no one said that.
any of those.
What I'm talking about, you fucking idiot, is that these people that are lacking long-term relationships with people that have the inability to have that connection, to be able to foster a relationship with another person, said female, that having a fucking 1 hour fling is not going to solve their problem. Do you not fucking understand that? It goes a lot deeper than being able to pull $20 out of your fucking pocket and fuck someone. You are still dealing with the fact that you are unable to have the connection with a person. Yes, okay, let's say he hires the prostitute for a fucking week. He knows damn good and well once the money runs out, the girl is gone. Do you not understand that, you idiot?
You're paying for it one way or the other in any relationship.
Let's
Oh my
let's
Besides,
talk
if
about
he's really an incel, he's gonna expect the hooker to go Dutch anyway. So
let's talk about implementing this.
The problem now is you can only afford a prostitute for a short period of time because
I
it's
love
so
you, Snooks.
expensive. It's so expensive. We need to make it much less expensive.
Hey, we're gonna have a really great time.
So what you're saying, Sugar, that a person who cannot establish a relationship, maintain a relationship, can go out and buy a relationship, and that's going to make them feel just as nice.
The amount of subsidy money that we give to
Okay, answer the question. So if you can't go out and get a girlfriend on your own, if you cannot go out and foster a relationship with a person and there's something going on and you're dealing with that, you go out and you buy a prostitute and you keep her about, that is going to fix your problem. That is going to make you feel any better other than the fact that you now realize, other than the fact that you now realize the only way you're going to get fucked is if you pay someone.
If I had millions of dollars, I'd be buying high-class escorts all the time. I think most men would. I mean, obviously.
No, most women would not because they're not fucking.
That's so stupid. And if Andricus had multi-million dollars, he'd have a harem of women like every.
Why? Why do you think that? Because something because something is so because something is so fucking lacking in your life that you are such a fucking shallow fucking human being that equates everything to celebrity status down to the fact that you follow Gwyneth Paltrow's advice because she's a celebrity, that you are the type of person that equates 1,000 people hitting your tweets are friends of yours because you have no fucking moral compass whatsoever.
Does that have to do with anything? Yes, welcome to.
It has to do with what's coming out of your fucking mouth right now.
I agree with
social media, Molly. Nothing you do is going to stop social media from happening. It's
but
happening.
They're not your fucking friends, and that's what you said. I have thousands of friends because they fucking clicked your tweet.
You sound like someone that was yelling against the railroad 100 years ago. How dare you ride these railroads?
What the fuck are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
Happened.
What the hell are you talking about? You equate somebody clicking on your Twitter feed as a friend.
I estimate that over half the world is on social media.
You consider people clicking on your Twitter feed are friends of yours.
It's a semantic argument. I don't know what that means.
No, it's not a semantic argument. It's something you said.
Yes, you wanted to.
Someone asked you about friends, and you said, "I have 1,000 friends on my Twitter feed." You think those people on the other side of the computer that, for whatever reason, clicked on your feed now is your friend.
I want to argue the definition of friend. Our society with technology is.
Are you now going to tell me what the definition of a friend is? And are you going to bring it down to fucking such a base level that someone that you're communicating through a Twitter feed is your friend?
Through technological advancement, we are superseding these old, worn-out terms of the word friend.
What are you talking about? Old, oh my gosh! So it's antiquated to actually have a real-life friendship, to foster a friendship in real life, to actually meet someone, carry on a conversation in real life is now antiquated?
Your outdated social structures are antiquated. You're a dinosaur. You do not belong in the new world. Get the fuck out. Get moved on.
Well, guys, would you guys agree? Top 5 versus 1 of them, elect the champion and have a discussion with Sugar.
Hey, I can't hear what you're saying. thing.
Sugar Mom.
So
Hear you.
Whoa, what's going on?
But for your mic is coming through.
Somebody's
No one
mic
can
is
hear-
like echoing,
no
doing
one can
something.
hear your rant, Shamos.
it wasn't Shamos.
No, it was that
was.
but for guy.
It was but for playing
But for.
Shamos talking.
And that you couldn't tell the difference is worrying to me.
I just don't think. I think, Sugar, you're just looking at the incel problem like someone that doesn't understand it, someone that hasn't read about it, someone that's just looking at it in surface and on a surface level and wants to just stick a band-aid over it, like, oh, let's just get them laid, it'll fix everything.
Yeah.
Sugar, I mean, Sugar, you're just kind of ignorant. I
What's
mean,
your solution, Shamos? You
I
want to
could
get
direct
the
you.
wives?
I could direct you to the. I could direct you to some literature to actually
What is
get you
your
on the right
solution?
track.
What is your solution? You want to get them all mail order brides? Is that it, Shamos?
No, dumbass. The solution is something that women have kind of unsustainable dating habits, and basically the society has to change. And so that doesn't seem to be something that's really
how would you change
solvable.
this? And how would you change
It's not
society?
something that's really solvable. And so the thing
I'm
not
offering a
immediately.
real life solution. I'm
Well,
offering.
women have to change. Women have to change the ways that they understand dating
Oh.
and the
Why
way that
do
they understand
women?
marriage.
Why is
Shamos,
it
that's
the
not
onus on women to change?
Because women, because of how the evolutionary thing has worked, for whatever reason, the men have surrendered all the sexual power to women. There's reasons for this, because I mean, first of all, I mean, a man has millions of sperm that he can give every month. A woman only has like 300 eggs in her entire life, so she has to think very carefully about those 300 eggs. That's it. She's got 300 shots at it, and the guy is much different. So his evolutionary kind of understanding and habits have been formed a bit differently. Guys doesn't have to be, and also she incurs a heavy biological burden if she gets pregnant, and the man incurs none, right? And so by default, she has to be a lot more selective, okay? And so the whole idea is that's why she has most of the sexual power, is because men are willing, and she just has to choose.
Shane was talking about sexual power again. What a fucking moron.
So
He just said it's not about sex. What a dork.
This is pretty much how. No, I'm explaining the way that women have power.
Okay, actually, women
the incel
actually by
problem
the
has
time
nothing
a
to do with
woman
sex,
reaches
but it has.
puberty, they have 300,000 eggs. The fact that they're only ovulating 300 to 400 eggs in a lifetime is a big
Yeah,
difference.
obviously that's what I'm talking about, dummy. If you didn't realize that that's what I'm talking about, I'm talking about
Well, no,
eggs
you
that
were
can
doing
actually.
sperm count. Well, what do you want us to bleed
No.
like weekly? What the
No,
fuck?
no. I'm saying a guy, when he shoots his load, there's like over 1 million sperm in one nut that he busts. He busts one single nut, and you have 1 million sperm swimming around in your pussy. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Google it if you think I'm wrong. It's something like that.
It only takes one strong swimmer.
No shit. But what I'm saying is a woman only has like 300 eggs that she could ever develop towards a fetus. And so there's reasons why she has to be quite a bit more selective. Not just that, she has a 9-month biological burden on her. And the man, if he decides, could just up and leave. So she has to be quite a bit more selective between her suitors. There's also other reasons as well. But they're a lot less minor than the ones I've listed. So I'd rather just rest most of it on those. And that's just going to be the way that they have sexual power. And so there's a difference between the sexual game and then the dating and then the marriage game. And so what the incels are quite concerned with is what's called the dating game. They're not really concerned with the sexual game. And
I'm hearing
so
no solutions. I haven't heard one solution that you've offered.
Yeah, I just told you what if there isn't an immediate solution? Women's ideals.
You spend all this time thinking about the subject and
women's ideals have to change. The way that they think and understand dating has to change.
How do you propose we as a society go about doing this?
Well, first of all, men who are of a station of magnitude above women should not have sex with them. Like, for example, 8s, if you're a male and you're an 8, you shouldn't be banging 5s and 6s, because what that does is that gets them misconstruing the dating game over top of the sexual game. And so that's when
Then why do
problems
you do
arise.
it?
And so, Well, because I mean, men have this problem of having this thing called testosterone flooding through their body, and they really, up until a certain point of their life, have almost no control over
Yeah.
their
The
sexual
solution has
appetite.
to
So once again, you just offered a problem that you just stated is no solution because men can't control themselves.
polyandry is what it has to be, or reverting to
You know,
older conservative values.
yeah, and it also has to do with this notion, since we're bringing up these fancy words, the women are hypergamous in the way that they date and mate are quite along the lines of hypergamy. And so those, basically what I'm saying is those have to change. If women become less hypergamous, then this incel problem will be alleviated in proportion.
I don't want to sound like an idiot, but
You
can
offered
someone
no
please? Hey,
solution.
hold on.
You
Hold
offered
on.
no solution. Not one.
Oh, Jesus. But, do you understand, Sugar, that the solution isn't just going to be this one fucking point of light that you think is going to be the magic cure-all? What we're trying to explain is that being an incel is a many-headed hydra. It's not just not getting laid. It's not just not finding a partner. It's all of these things, plus other overriding influences.
He did offer a solution as well. Seamus did offer a solution. You just weren't listening.
Solution?
He said that, what was the word? Women need to be less hypergamous?
Yes, that just means marrying above your class or station.
Yeah.
Is all it means.
So you want a re-education campaign to get women to somehow stop dating above their... Isn't every woman's instinct to date higher than she can get? Why? How?
Yeah, but the reason is, and every man's instinct is to do that as well. But the women, because of their power in the sexual game, are confused that
that's not
they
right.
think
If
that
you want to
because
go
they
back
can
to the
bang.
original, no, it's not right. If you want to, I really want to talk about it. So why is it that a woman?
Well, why would
is
I ever
going
take an old British boomer's opinion on the subject?
Okay,
There's no real
so
reason.
when you're
There's
dealing
no real
with
reason to
where
take you
women are
seriously.
bringing children into the world, you going to want to have some broke down fuck living in a boat, or are you going to want to have somebody who's actually going to provide home and shelter for you and your children? And
But that works the other way as well, Molly. That works the other way.
I understand that.
Like, why would I want my children to be some crack whore, right? I would rather
oh,
the
I
mother
wouldn't
of
want
my
you to have
children.
a crack whore either.
But I'm saying that the drive is there for both sides, right? Like, I
It
would
is.
like a who can better provide for my children.
I agree with you,
So,
but right now we're dealing with
here's the thing.
Shamos, who is
This is
putting
why you're
the
confused.
responsibility
Everyone
and the
wants to
fault
date
on the
above their
women
station.
instead of making it an equal across the board. Yes,
Look,
each person. It's just
look,
like
newsflash.
parents.
It's not
Parents
equal across
always
the
want
board.
Listen,
because
dummy.
parents are the
Listen,
same way.
dummy.
A child,
Listen,
when you
dummy.
have children, what do you
Newsflash.
want best? You want better than you had.
Just shut up.
No, you shut
Tell
the
her to
fuck
shut up, dude. Tell her to
Come
shut
on, you
up.
do it. You do it, man. Come on.
Listen.
I'm just a fucking woman. I'm just a fucking girl. Let's go fix it. You fix the fucking problem.
Didn't you
I
say
think
the
she's
men has
missing the point.
to stop fucking girls below them or something as well?
No,
that
I've told you.
isn't a 50-50
Listen,
thing.
I'm going to tell you something very important. This isn't going to be a surprise to anyone. Okay, everyone, be a male or female, wants to fuck people and date people above their station. Everyone wants to do that. Okay, newsflash. It's just that women have better access to that in a certain type of way that's kind of misleading. It's because since they have power in the sexual game, women quite frequently as fives can fuck 7, 8s, 6, 7s, and 8s. Men as fives can't do that with the same frequency. Okay, and so the idea is women who constantly or sometimes or occasionally bang people higher above their station start to be confused that they can date people of the same class. Okay, and what happens is when the 6s, 7s, and 8s don't want to date the 5, the 5 becomes confused and they're like, none of these. Then they say things like the common quip that you hear: none of these men went commit. All men are dogs. No. It's because you are fucking guys above your station and they're not going to commit to you. That's why you think that all guys are dogs and why none of guys are going to commit. Blah 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 blah. And that's why it's a common theme with women. And it's because if men who were above their station, these are 8s and 9s like myself, if they didn't bang women lower than their station quite frequently because of their enhanced sexual drive, then women wouldn't be confused and they would much rather date 5s and 6s. Okay, and which would be much more reasonable, and the 5s or 6s would be getting more action, and then that would alleviate quite a percentage off the incel population. But see, that's that's the real problem. Okay, women are hypergamous by nature, and it has a lot to do with evolution, and they want to date guys and be with guys who are the top dog, and you couldn't expect them to want to do otherwise, but they're misled because they can sometimes bang the top dog occasionally when men can't.
So what's the problem with polyandry then? Because it seems difficult to to actually make what you're talking about happen ethically.
Well, like here's the thing. It's one thing to understand the problem, and one thing to realize what the solution may be. And so like I understand that there's no immediate solution. It's quite difficult. It's complex, and it has to do with people's attitudes, and it has to do with a large cultural problem that's been many years in the running. And so, but quite surely that's the problem. I just don't really have a good idea of what we could do systematically as a solution. But that doesn't change. That doesn't change anything. I mean, quite the world might just be like that. There might not be
Shameless, are
easy
you
problems.
polyamorous as well?
Easily. Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I have some things working against me that women don't have. I mean, first of all, I have testosterone coursing through my body. Okay, and there's other things going on there as well. Like,
Well, I think the problem with people in polyamorous relationships, they think that it's a way for the person justify going out and just randomly having sex with people when they don't really understand what poly.
That would be an open relationship. That it doesn't matter, right, that most people or a lot of people don't understand what the term means, because that's not what it means.
Yeah, I know. I happen to be poly. And the thing is, like, they view fucking monogamy as the one way people should love one person, like, and I think that's complete bullshit. I think monogamy is not natural at all.
Yeah, as far
yeah,
as I
but
can tell,
monogamy is a bit more stable. I think as a system, it's a bit more stable. And so, I mean, we've all seen the problems that arise with like the girl that has many boyfriends and the fights that ensue from that. And things don't really happen that way with pure monogamous relationships.
Yeah, but those are the type of people that shouldn't participate in a polyamorous relationship. If you can't handle that aspect, then I don't think you should be able to.
Well, I'm just
I
saying
don't
it's
think you should
inherently
pursue it.
more unstable. It's inherently more unstable is all I'm saying. There might be benefits to it
I
for
can
whatever
agree with
reason.
you.
yeah, I think
I
that if you get into that point, right, where it's like you get these people that are either going to be monogamous, sorry, they're either going to be polyandrous or be incels, then it's on them at that point if
well,
they
like
can't handle it.
I think that a big thing in a polyamorous relationship is I would say trust and communication. Like like whenever I go into a relationship, I can like the first thing I tell the person is, by the way, I'm poly, and if you're not okay with that, then I don't know if this will work.
I thought we were talking about incels.
Yeah, we are.
What's with all this polyamory stuff?
Yeah,
Well,
what does polyamory mean?
Well, I'm not talking about polyamory specifically. I'm talking about polyandry specifically, which is a form of polygamy, but it's just one woman and many men. So the idea is that if women have like a higher market value and they can attract more men, then like Seamus is saying, under this current society with monogamy, you get
I
the
don't
men
think
that are left at the
that's.
bottom, right? But if
I
they
mean,
can,
Wait, can I ask you though, like if you're poly, right? Aren't you conditioning yourself in a sense where it would be more and more difficult to enter a monogamous relationship in the future?
yeah.
Sugar, did you
Because you,
disagree with what Shameless said?
What?
Did you disagree with what Shameless said?
I've been checked out of the combo. What did you say?
I mean, one thing I said is that you don't understand the incel problem. If you wanted, I could direct you to some literature. I think one of the most appropriate bastions of literature that we have happens to be Elliot Rodgers' quote unquote manifesto, because it's written as an autobiography and it's quite embarrassing. And so because of the embarrassing aspects that he wrote in there, it's almost certainly true. This is a way that textual critics over a large field of literary criticism determine authenticity with respect to historical works, and it's called the criterion of embarrassment. The thing is, if someone was going to make something up and they had the ability to be as creative or write in whatever they wanted, because it was bounded not by the truth, not by the world, but bounded by what they wanted to write, then they wouldn't have to include embarrassing facts about themselves or someone like they would want to make look good. Like, for example, Jesus. But there are embarrassing facts about Jesus in the Bible, quite a few. And so some of those are thought to be more reliable than some of the other passages via this criterion of embarrassment. So what I would suggest is you should read his manifesto. It's called My Twisted World. It's readily available online. It's quite long. It's written as an autobiography. And it's quite interesting. And you could also probably look around some of the Reddit. They shut down the Reddit incel thread because of obvious reasons, because of the whole Elliot Rodger thing and other stuff's been going on. But there's a good amount of literature you could have read there, and you'll realize that the problem doesn't really stem with it's not sexual. It's not solely sexual in nature. Obviously, it's sexual in nature, but they really want women to desire them. And like Elliot Rodgers talks a lot about him meeting the gaze of women and how they would look at him revolting, like with revulsion. And that was a major like problem for him. And like he really wanted for girls to not look at him and be repulsed by him. And that's something that you really can't capture by seeking prostitutes. And so all I'm saying is I think you just are like, oh, these guys are incels, they don't get laid, blah blah blah, and you just think the easy way is that to fix it is just for them to get laid, because you're not thinking about it fully. You're just like looking at it very surface level, and you're just trying to put a band-aid over a bullet wound, and it's just
It is a complex issue. Certainly, all these incels want hot women that also love them. True, but we can't do anything about that. We can't, by law, make women love these incels. We can address the sexual component, which you agree is a component. So there is a sexual component. If you look at the picture of all these mass shooters, the one thing they have in common is they're all very, very incel, trouble getting women.
Here's the thing: just because
What?
it's a
You don't even know
component.
that. You
Wait,
just.
can
Here's
I
the
wait,
other thing. I think me and you
ask you guys a
disagree
question?
fundamentally on something more important. The idea is that I actually think that I agree that there's a sexual component, but what you're saying is, well, let's fix that one component. Let's get them laid. I actually think that would exasperate the problem, because I think the crudeness of the interaction
Exacerbate.
exacerbates, the crudeness of the transaction between prostitutes. The transactions, I mean, I've never frequented prostitutes, but like, I understand the nature of the transaction is very crude. You know what I mean? It's
I
not
can
meant to
explain it.
be.
What do you mean by crude?
Well, what I mean is it's not meant to be loving. They're not really meant to consider your feelings. The idea is the prostitute wants to kind of get in and out as quick as possible,
But they
and
don't make you feel that way. They're very good at deceiving you in that.
well, I'm sure that they can, but like, if you understand, like, you can pretty much see right through that facade, and you can pretty much see. And so like when it comes to that, my position is this: that if you just got them all prostitutes, it would make it way worse, because then they would their sense of not being desired would be even more heightened, and they would be even more kind of upset by the fact that, like, the only way I can get this girl is with money. And then the transaction is very formal. Like, I have to give this cash over. It's not like, I give her cash like 2 times and she comes over for free every now and then. It's like every single time I have to, and the crudeness of the transaction just really I think it would make the problem even worse, and they would feel even worse about themselves. So like, it would actually make it just come to fruition even more for them. I actually think that would be the worst thing to do, actually.
Wait, hey guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can I ask you, have you guys ever thought about the idea of feminism or third wave feminism in
Yeah,
connection
it's
with
not
the
gonna work,
incel
bud. I can't.
situation?
What are you in a construction zone or
Are
something,
you at
bud?
Niagara Falls?
No, I mean like third wave feminism in connection with the incel situation. Like, you don't feel like there's some sort of connection?
Third wave, I mean, feminism in general, I don't really understand the nature of the waves of feminism. I mean, I understand the nature of first wave feminism is just centered around suffrage, but I don't really understand second or third wave feminism I don't think there's any coherent way to understand it. I think after that, there's just post suffrage women's feminist movements. And I think that resoundingly, those things have had quite a big correlation on incels, because I think birth control has a huge impact on incels. I think if women, first of all, look at this. I already told you that men who are 8s and 9s shouldn't be banging 5s and 6s. So look, you wanted me to propose a real way that we could solve this? Ban birth control, make birth control illegal. Okay, and so I know this sounds absurd to some of you really liberal people, okay, but you should just hear me out. If you were to make birth control illegal, what would happen is you wouldn't be able to bang 5s and 6s without the worry of getting them pregnant. And if you're an 8 or 9, you don't want to put your seed in a 5 or 6. And so the idea is you would keep your dick out of them quite frequently more if you thought that there was a much higher chance of you getting them pregnant. Okay, and so I think what you'll notice is that one of the main standing issues within feminism was birth control. Obviously, abortion is another, but birth control is a huge issue because it allows women to have a lot more control over their body and allow them to be a lot more fucking sluts, with no repercussions. And so certainly those have a connection if that's what you're talking about.
Oh, I see. But wait, how do you know what is an 8 or a 9? Isn't that subjective?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that they're 8s or 9s. I mean, because the way you could do it a certain way, like.
What I mean is if I like maybe what I think is 8, 9, you think is a 6.
Yeah. But there's a way that we could standardize it in a sense, right? It's that we could take an average. Let's say that all the people, and this isn't really feasible, but this is theoretical. If you just took all the people in the world and got them to
Shamos,
rate.
have you ever had a good blowjob from a girl that really knew what she was doing, Shamos?
Yeah, most of them were fat though.
Well, if you ever got a good blowjob from a girl who really knew what she was doing and he was smoking hot with huge titties, Shamos?
Yeah, that almost never happens.
It would solve
Like,
all these fucking. Well, as someone who's gotten blowjobs from smoking hot girls with hot titties who knew what they were doing, let me tell you, it would solve all these incels problems real quick.
Why?
yeah, I think
What the fuck are
you're
you talking
shallow.
about?
Okay, if I may, just right quick. Does anyone actually believe that Sugar had a smoking hot blowjob by a smoking hot girl with big titties?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I
really
do.
unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, I
find
think he
that really
did.
hard to
Yeah, of
believe.
I think
course.
the kid did. He
Mm,
probably did
no,
have
He's
his
in
cock in one of
college and
those
like,
girls' mouth.
yeah, bunch of dumb college girls that are hot with big tits. Yeah,
Really? But they can do really good blowjobs?
I mean,
don't
college
think
girls
so.
aren't
Most of
exactly
them.
known for their fucking like chastity, and
But they're
discriminating.
blowjobs.
Or their
Let me tell you this: most
They're
girls,
experienced at giving really good blowjobs? I wouldn't think they
let me
would.
tell you this: most girls
Yeah.
not great at blowjobs. Like some are like adequate. Most don't really know what they're doing. They'll put their mouth on it, they'll sort of
Yeah.
touch it or whatever.
Yeah. I
Some
cringe when I remember.
Some
yeah.
girls know what the fuck they're doing and are like incredible pros. And like,
See, because my thinking would be if you're a smoking hot chick with big titties, you would say, fuck you with the really fantastic blowjob. You do all the work. But that's me.
oh no. Anyways,
Some of them take pride in it, though.
Maybe.
Well, that's just
big time
selfish.
pride. And I'm telling you, it's a rare commodity. And if we get these hot, and it's one of the best, most pleasurable things you could ever experience. And if these incels could get just one of these amazing blowjobs from a subsidized and legalized, regulated, STD-free, drug-free prostitute, easy solution, problem
Look, why
solved.
are we entertaining this? Look, it's like if you just said, well, why don't we get prostitutes to give all the starving Africans blowjobs? It's the best feeling in the world. It's going to solve all the. It's not the issue that Shamos is talking about. So
No, it would not provide those starving Africans food. It's not allegorious.
Yeah, and it's not going to provide these incels
fuck?
a sense of connection and being wanted.
Yeah, if anything, it would give them a taste and make things worse.
Yeah, that's what I
Don't
think
you?
too. I'm led to believe that.
Can I ask you guys a question? Don't you think that society kind of plays a role in pushing this male, female? You have to be with a woman. You have to do this and have to do that. Do you don't think society kind of plays a role in this? And
I mean, society plays the most major role, and that
Yeah, it's obviously a part.
obvious. That should be, yeah, that should be
why
fucking
should you
obvious.
have what I mean is why should you have such a strong urge to like, oh, I have to be with a woman, I have to do this. Like why can't things just be like, you know what, I'm not really looking for that, but hey, if
Nah, when you're cast
down
into
the
it, you're cast into a certain mold from a young age. it's hard to break away from that. You know, when you're flooded with certain types of media and certain types of representations of families and certain expectations of how reality works, or how the good, or what the good life is, like a representation of what it means to have a good life. What you'll notice is you've had a lot of symbolism and a lot of things kind of forced upon you. And there's kind of, there, to be honest with you, in the Western world, there's kind of a notion of like the good life, or the quote unquote perfect life, even though we acknowledge that nothing's perfect. You know, it's just kind of the idea that you know, you grow up, you go to high school, you know, you find the right, or then you go to college, you find the right girl, you get a good career. You know, the idea now is a lot different than it was, because they were trying to have kids a lot earlier. But the narrative for Westerners today is something like graduate from high school, graduate from college, during college, find a nice girl, get on your
Yeah.
feet, graduate from
I don't
college,
think I don't think
get
that's
your career
I don't think
started,
that's
get
I
your
don't think
career
that's
started, get off with your girl, and then you get married after your career's underway, have kids once your career's underway.
I don't
Then you
think
kind
that's
of,
the
you know,
Western. That's not the Western way though. Like right now, that's false. Like
no,
nobody
no, no.
like.
I'm not talking about a way. I'm talking about what's idealized on in media and in culture. And so this standard
We know
notion.
what media tells is completely like not even in the same ballpark of what the average person is looking
Yeah,
at.
yeah. Well, that should be obvious. That doesn't need to be stated explicitly, as you've so eloquently put. The whole idea is that that's the notion that I'm pointing to. I'm saying that it's not with reality, but that's the mold that you've been cast in. So that's the expectations that you have. And what you'll notice is those forces are pressing upon you at all times. Like when you think like think about this. I mean, the idea is like when you get out of high school, you should be going to college. But there are these kids who like don't go to college, and they have this weird pressure upon them that like when they speak to other people their age, and they feel embarrassed to say that they're not in college, and there's a reason for that embarrassment, right? It's because they feel pressured that the right thing to do is be in college, so they feel like they're not keeping with that norm, and so they're embarrassed. And you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of levels like that. Think about, there's a bunch of steps you can graduate. Think about women who are in their 30s who are wanting to have kids. They oftentimes talk about like, oh my God, all my other friends from high school, they're all married, they all have kids or something like that. And so you'll see women quite frequently at that age, like really trying to get pregnant, or really trying to find a guy that wants to get pregnant. It's because
Well,
they
that's
feel
usually when they
that.
get desperate.
Well, I think it has to do with the biological clock. I have to, and I think that largely is cultural as well. That notion of like, you need to have kids for your 30, you're going to be an old mom, or you're, you know, blah blah blah. Those notions put on people are also cultural.
The last thing I'm gonna say, real quick, Shamos, did you or not admit that you've not had good pussy in 2 months?
What?
Well,
What
it
does this
wasn't
have?
even good. The pussy that I got wasn't even good, so it was quite busted, and had a few
Wait,
kids
So
how
from it.
how
old are
long?
you guys?
Hold on, no, let me finish. So how long has it been since you had good pussy, Shamos?
Dude, I don't want to say.
So it's been a long time. And then,
It's been,
Kate,
yeah.
evidence number two. Did you not come in here and talk a little bit today about how you wanted to buy a bunch of guns?
Yeah, I did.
And at what point, when people asked you why you wanted those guns, did you not sort of make a little jest joke about maybe you'd go shoot a federal building?
No, that's not what I said at all. That's ridiculous. I did say something about a federal building, but it wasn't in that context.
Okay, well, the defense rests, everybody. The defense rests.
I'm not sure what you proved there, but okay.
Yeah, what did you prove? Nothing.
What do you?
Shameless.
Sugar, let me ask you a
Why'd you say
question.
that the defense rests? Are you the one that was on
You're the
defense?
prosecutor.
Yeah.
You're the prosecutor.
Can we just? That was.
No,
bad.
I'm defending my position. I'm the defense. And
Sugar,
so,
when's the last time you had pussy where you didn't have to worry it was going to come with an STD?
oh, I had the best pussy ever 2 weeks ago. Best pussy ever.
Yeah.
But you worried. You were worried.
You
we
were
remember
concerned.
you were.
Yeah, you were concerned.
Why?
Yeah.
I have no guns. Am I seeking guns? Do I spend any time thinking
We're
about
not
marriage?
talking about guns. I'm just interested in the fact that, you know, your fantastic, wonderful pussy comes with the possibility of having another dick in it and possibly showing up with yet another STD.
Well, you know, escorts take a lot of dicks.
Well, look,
So
sugar.
your girlfriend's an escort?
Oh my god, this is
Well,
all
no,
just
but I'm
this is,
saying
this
that
is
doesn't
going nowhere.
matter.
Just like I don't even know what this is. Listen, sugar,
Yeah,
like
drop sugar.
your whole identity is wrapped up in being good looking and like your appearance, and like if something were to happen and that were
What was
changed,
that?
Tom was
again,
just
Tom.
talking about his hole.
What?
He said your hole.
You cut out after your whole.
Yeah, your whole identity is wrapped up in being good looking and your appearance. Like what would happen if that were taken away or somehow you lost that?
Good
First of all,
point.
I'm not that good looking, and my appearance is not great.
That's nothing.
If I had
That's
money,
not compatible with anything that I said. I said your identity is wrapped up in your perception of being good looking. Doesn't matter like what. Look, you can just whatever you were about to say, just don't say it because it's dumb and doesn't fucking matter.
if I just admitted that I'm not that good looking, doesn't that make my
It
identity not
doesn't
that good looking?
matter. It's that you perceive yourself to currently be good looking, right?
Then wouldn't that contradict what I'm telling you right now? Is that I'm not even that good looking?
No, that you look. Do you think that you're good looking?
Not that good looking.
There's no. If you say that you're not good looking, because I've heard you personally say it 1,000 times. You've said that you're good looking. You're the best looking person in the room. You're like a 8 or 9.
I've never said that.
Oh, many times.
It is just
I've heard
if you don't admit to this, I'm inclined to just fucking ban you for just fucking your dishonesty. You absolutely think that you're good looking.
Well, you should prove it then. Prove it.
So I don't know why you want to be a little dishonest fuck about something so stupid, which is so
fine.
obviously
I have a
the
good-looking
case.
face, Tom. Fine.
No, it doesn't matter if it is objectively. You think that you do, right? And it's important to your identity, your perception of what you look like. Now, how would you feel if you lost that or that went away? What would become of Sugar?
It would be very hard. It would be very hard.
Oh. Why would it be hard?
Because I would not be able to get better looking women.
Let's say you became disfigured to the point where you couldn't get any women. What do you think would happen to
It
you?
would be very hard. It would be very difficult.
Yeah, would you be an
incel?
Yeah, you'd be like an incel.
Me
then.
personally, I would at that point go and become a monk probably. But if I was a rich disfigured person, then I would just hire escorts.
Yeah, we're not talking about you being rich so that you could just buy like high class hookers.
The whole point of the argument. If escorts were affordable, then you know,
Right,
the
and
whole position is we need to subsidize prostitution and legalize it.
that's not gonna make that's not gonna make the best ones affordable.
Previously on Handmaid's Tale. The new one. May God make me truly.
I hate that I have to personally mute all
I
these
got
people
it,
every
I
single
got it.
time.
I got it.
I was just pulling it up.
Yeah, I don't know why you think that makes that like banging high class hookers is like 9 out of 10 hookers is gonna be affordable. No idea why you think that.
We subsidize it, so think of all the billions of dollars we give to the corn industry alone, and the fossil fuel companies. We give them like 13 billion a year just in freebies. If you took just 1 billion of that, just 1 billion of that, $1 billion, and gave it to legalized prostitutes, oh god, hot chicks would be coming out of the woodwork. You'd be
Wait, what do
charging-
you mean by give it to them?
subsidizing them?
What do you mean?
We literally give free money to the corn industry and the fossil fuel
So
industry.
you just
Free.
give these prostitutes free money?
Oh, hell yeah. So like I said, why are we giving it to the fossil fuel industry? Why are we giving it to the corn industry? We don't need that shit. Give
Why
it to the
are we
fucking
giving it to them? Hey, Sugar, why are we giving it to them?
lobbyists, corruption and lobbyists.
So simply
now,
because to give them additional money.
yes, it's called corruption, Jovan.
So you don't think it's
Anyway.
actually wait, so stop. You don't think it's actually benefiting them at all. You just think we're giving them free money. So why are you just giving these prostitutes free money if it's not going to benefit them at all?
Sorry. I don't think that it's benefiting our society giving it to corn companies and fossil fuel industry. That was my point.
The point is you're right. So why would you think that giving money to the prostitutes would benefit us?
I'm sorry, what? You don't think that giving $1 billion to prostitutes, legalized prostitutes, would make that industry boom?
Why wouldn't you
No.
give it to something more beneficial?
To
Why wouldn't it
Good
boom?
argument.
legalize?
What is beneficial
How
to
is it
right
gonna
now
make
we're
it
giving it
boom?
Because
right now we're
if
giving it to no, but we're giving it to fossil fuel companies and corn
Yeah,
companies.
What do
Fuck
they
them.
need that money for to help them boom, Sugar?
put it towards alternative energy.
no, it would reduce the prices of prostitutes, right? So say if it's a $1 billion industry now, right, and you subsidize it with $1 billion, then they could all charge half of what they do now, and then more people would be involved in it, would partake at a
You'd
lower
also
price
have
point.
you'd also have more people becoming prostitutes. Is that what you want, Sugar?
Oh yeah, there'd be a lot of hot chicks signing up to be prostitutes because they'd be making like $200,000 a year. All these cam chicks would actually have to have sex.
Sugar, you're insane.
So Sugar, you would give these prostitutes a stipend and say, "Hey, we're gonna give you an allowance so you can lower your prices. Don't have to be so expensive."
Yes, and they would have to have, a certain number of in-person clients to get the stipend. Exactly. That's how subsidies and regulations
No,
work.
that's retarded. That's not how it should work. It would work by just lowering the price, and then the government would put some towards each purchase. So the way Medicare works in Australia, for instance, where we pay $5 for it, and the government has to pay the rest.
I can see to ride. Sure, that way.
So prostitution would be a government service at that point.
And we're still doing it to fight incels, right? Right? Right.
Fight incels. What do you mean it's for them?
I'm talking about the whole point why we were even talking about this to begin with. I'm just trying to bring it around.
You can't just give the money straight to the incels. People would revolt. They'd be very upset.
And plus, it wouldn't solve the problem.
Exactly.
Tom, why did
then
you
gotta go about
Oh, yeah, go on.
What?
Go ahead, Sugar.
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah.
The only problem that would solve is for those people that just want sex.
Exactly.
Yes, you're right. We cannot address the love emotional component yet. I've not heard a good solution to that. You're right. But we can address the sexual opponent. And once again, we need to stop our incel population from shooting up everybody. I go to a fair. I'm going to a fair this weekend, and I'm scared to go to the fair because, I'm going to be like, oh, the fucking dude's going to come out with an AR-15 and shoot everybody while I'm trying to throw my fucking, win my girl a little bear.
Wow.
Your girl doesn't want the bear.
I just had a visual of
No,
that.
damn well she wants that bear.
No, she doesn't.
Anyway, Tom, when I brought up polyandry, you sort of dismissed it as if that wouldn't help the problem. Was that is that correct? Is that
I
how
don't
you...
even know what polyandry is.
Oh, it's like one or polyamory in general, but polyandry
When
is
people are talking
one...
about polyamory and whatever you're talking about, I just don't know what that
Yeah.
has to do with what we're talking about.
So if women have like a higher market value, right? Say all the tens, all the female tens go into a relationship with all the 10 males and all the 9 males, right? And then males become a higher commodity in the lower number. So it would be easier for them to get into a relationship.
Sugar, let me ask you something. Instead of spending all the money on the bear and flying this girl out, why don't you just spend it on the prostitute?
Oh shit.
I've said this a million times. One, well, I'll get to that, but the reason I've never been with a prostitute ever, and to this point, is because of one, the price, two, the STD risk, three, because there's no regulation,
Your girlfriend
three,
had a pretty high STD rate.
the drug use. These prostitutes are full of drugs. So my regulations would be drug tests, get their you know, stipend or whatever, it would be drug tests, you know, STD tests.
Well, then, okay, so in hindsight, so actually, a prostitute would be a safer avenue to fuck than your girlfriend because she wouldn't be under those regulations.
I have never gotten an STD from my girlfriend, and then
Yeah,
I
but
want
she
to
had one. But see, she had
What?
one.
She
See,
put you
here's
at
the
risk.
thing. She had an STD. And if you set all of these things in motion like you would like to, actually fucking a prostitute would be safer than fucking your girlfriend.
Oh, that's not true at all.
Well,
Because
it
you're
is
gonna hold
true. It is
girlfriends to
true.
the same regulation.
It is true because your girlfriend had an STD. Whether or not you caught it is a different thing. The simple fact that she had an STD.
And she has since been treated and tested and
Okay,
STD
but
free.
see, here's the thing. If she was a regulated prostitute under your thing, she wouldn't have gotten the STD or been allowed to fuck you with an STD. So again, a prostitute's actually a safer bet for you than your girlfriend.
Under
The
that
prostitute's safer
regulation.
now.
Prostitute that I'm proposing in the future would be safer than my girlfriend at one time when she had an STD for like a month. Yes.
One time that you know of. But yeah, okay, sure.
You don't need to regulate it by forcing them to get these drug tests to get their stipend, right? If the like prostitutes now maintain social media presence and are like heavily reviewed by punters, that it would be horrible for their reputation and they wouldn't be able to continue their business if they had fucking open source on their account.
Yeah, I mean, there's escort agencies right now that do hold their employees up to very high standards.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about.
Well, yes, actually, the brothels in Nevada are very regimented and strict on their screening for STDs and whatnot. So, in respect, all
And
the
why is
rules,
that? And
all
why
the
is that,
excuse me,
Molly?
I'm still talking. So
What's the
everything that
difference between
you
Nevada and the
do
other
you
states,
just
Molly?
fucking
Nevada and the other states, Molly. Oh, that's right. They legalize and regulate it, Molly. That's why.
I don't think she's arguing against.
Okay.
That's not what we're talking about.
Okay, never mind. Since you
It's
decided to
it's
just
nothing
be a
to do with
fuckwit.
legalization and regulation at
Sugar,
all.
you're comparing a legitimate escort business. You're equating like any prostitute you see on like a street corner with like legitimate escort businesses where they do hold their employees to high standards.
Sure, absolutely. But Molly's example was the state, you know, will take away their license if these
No.
women are not, you know, meet certain
No one
regulations.
said that.
Molly said in Nevada.
No, she
That was her
didn't.
whole yes, she said in Nevada.
Molly, did
Did
you
I-
say that
did-
the Nevada government would take away their
No,
licenses?
I never even mentioned
said
licensing
in
and whatnot.
Nevada.
I just merely said I know what I said, and I said that they have and what's quite interesting is that in Nevada, it's you know prostitution is legal only in those brothels. So it's a very small area where prostitution is legalized. It's like you can't go into Las Vegas and legally prostitute yourself.
You can't?
Not legally.
Really?
You're correct. You're right.
How would you know that, Sugar?
I've watched the Bunny Ranch on HBO.
Oh, so you're an expert.
And what, they said that you can only be a prostitute in the brothel?
No, that the legal ones, you know, where the police can't do anything because
Yeah,
it's
legally,
illegal.
it's in the brothel set. You can't legally go out onto the corner, out in public, and prostitute yourself.
It's only in the brothels. They're strictly regulated.
Yes.
Well, that's different from it being legal.
Well, it's legal in
What?
Nevada.
That's not what Molly's saying.
What did I say? That what am I speaking a fucking foreign
You
language?
said it's only legal in the brothel.
Yeah,
Yes.
In Nevada.
in Nevada.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like you
Did
can't.
Did
you
I
can't-
misspeak? Did I not say that correctly? What did I say that was wrong?
I don't know.
Okay.
Everybody's got a bit lost in the weeds here. Aren't you talking about inceldom?
Well,
Oh,
Molly
Jesus.
is just like wants to like poke sugar your girlfriend,
I
chlamydia,
didn't
we just
wanna.
get to start talking about stupid shit.
Well, I
and
think that when you're talking
Oh
about like
fuck!
this idea of
Sorry, I
like
wound up on him for a moment.
But
Big fucking deal, Tom.
you're talking about this idea of like subsidizing the sex industry, and I've been listening in, and it's bizarre to me. I don't know whether this is like hypernormalization or just a certain mindset, but Americans seem to want to give money to literally anything but healthcare. You'll give $1 billion to high fructose corn syrup. You'll give $1 billion to Lockheed Martin so they can make jets that rust in a field. You'll give $1 billion to the fossil fuel industry that already has billions of dollars. If you take that billions of dollars, don't give it to sex workers, give it to mental health care.
No,
Surely
That's
that's a much
irrelevant.
better solution.
Right.
And also, it's a cart before the horse fallacy, right? So the reason you're scared of these incels is because so many of them go on mass rampages and shoot people. Okay, do something about the guns then. Like, this is very cart before the horse. There are lots of very simple solutions here that don't involve making like floating sky brothels for high class hoers.
You make a lot of great points, and I think we do need to put more money into mental health. Absolutely, great point. Yes, the guns,
what?
but you must admit on the gun front that we can only do so much. Portmantics. I mean, we have 300 million guns in this country.
Switzerland has like it has a higher per capita gun ownership than you. And they don't have these rampageous murders all the time. There are solutions to this.
I don't believe that.
No,
That's
they
true,
do.
sugar.
Talking about Switzerland has 2 million guns and they have 9 million people. Anywhere
Yeah, they have a
close.
higher gun
It's all
ownership
about
per capita.
proportions, though.
No, they don't. The United States has 300 million guns and 300
Sugar.
million people.
Oh my God, sugar.
Yeah, but those
the
300
population
million.
of Sweden is lower than that of the United.
Switzerland.
No, it doesn't matter. It's per
yeah.
capita. Switzerland doesn't even come close to us. Not close. Wait, oh,
In
Sweden.
terms of private gun ownership?
Yeah, no one comes close to us. Of course, bells went off when I heard you say this.
Sugar.
No,
Sugar.
no one is close to the United States when it comes to per capita gun ownership.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
insane.
Sugar, what is per capita?
Yeah,
It means per person.
It means per certain assigned number of people.
It means per person.
There we go.
Basically, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Sugar.
For each person in relation to people taken individually. Yes. What the fuck? Why is everyone making up shit and then gloating about it when they're wrong? Can you retract that laughter? Can you unlaugh for me right now?
So much projection right there.
Fucking
Look, sugar's
idiots.
not that. What is it actually like per 100 people? What would it?
It's
per 1,000?
114 per 100, which is excellent, by the way. I think the only other country that comes close is like Yemen or Oman or something. One of those two.
Yeah, Yemen is the
Somalia
next
or something.
closest. Yemen, where they've had a civil war for 20 years.
Yeah, but then weirdly enough, number 7 is Canada, right?
It's like not a close
Canada
number
has,
7 though.
yeah, Canada has a New York City is a third the size
once
of the entire
again,
Canadian
right?
population. So that just
Yeah,
shows
but
you
this
how
is
small Canada is.
But this is
There's
also
30 million
again,
people.
you're arguing this backwards, right? So you're going, oh well, we have all these guns. What do we do? Okay, well, other countries have been in those situations before. What did they do?
No other country in the history of the world has had a population armed with 300 million guns. That's false.
No,
And
what
so
other?
it's a
Okay,
brave-
so
it's
let's
a
say
brave
what
new
other
world.
what other country in the world at one point in its history, right, has had an ownership of guns that's equivalent to 1-to-1 or near enough?
One
A
ever.
fair amount of them, right?
No, false. Never.
And how did America end up with a close to 1-to-1 ownership rate then?
No, just like you said Sweden and made that up, you're making this up now. No
Switzerland.
country in the
No, we
history,
have. But I just want to be clear. We have over a 1-to-1 rate.
no country
Okay.
in the history of
So
the
what do you
world
do?
has come
Yeah,
close
but
to
all
a
you're
1-to-1
doing is
ratio.
going, oh, but we have 1-to-1. There's nothing we can
Yeah,
do.
but
It's
the
a good
ratio
point.
the
It is a
ratio
valid
is
point.
you're being, I don't know, like I think your emphasis on the ratio is being like just reducing it to that is kind of misleading. Because so let's say we just have a household of 10 people and there's 10
Cut out,
guns.
Tom.
Say that there's a household of 10 people and there's 10 guns, And since the ratio is 1-to-1, it's going to be really easy, right? But we're only talking about removing 10 guns, right? That's not hard to do. It's not in virtue of the ratio, it's just because there's only 10 guns, right? We just go in there and get them and we're done. When you're talking about 300 million plus guns, the ratio isn't really that important thing. There's literally 300 million of them.
Let's think about it practically. So we passed the law. We're confiscating guns or doing some sort of buyback program. I mean, we could get some of them off, but most people would just hide them. I guess we
Well,
could make really strenuous laws that would put people in prison for having illegal guns. That could work. You'd end up with a lot of people in prison. I mean, it would be tough. It would be a tough, any way you look at it, it would be tough, Tom. And the best you could do is like stop selling ammunition. That's something we could do.
It's dumb.
So yeah, tough problem.
It's not that complicated.
Ammunition's quite easy to manufacture, though.
Yeah.
Not for the average citizen.
I would say 100% subsidized mental health. Yes. I mean, oh God, I would do that before the prostitutes, but
This shit
definitely I would.
when you're talking about funding and someone pipes in and is just like, why don't we spend money on X completely unrelated topic first? That is just so uninteresting.
I mean, I wouldn't say that mental health is unrelated to inceldom.
Well, it depends on what the cause of inceldom is.
Well, exactly. I think this whole discussion has been a cart before the horse fallacy, because you don't necessarily want to end inceldom, you want to end the effects of inceldom, which is a different thing. I mean, you can't physically stop inceldom, right? Unless, like Sugar's plan, you just subsidize all the sex workers, and I don't know, they have a rota or something and go around and service
It's even
everyone's
dumber to
hog
say that that's going to stop it.
Well, yes, precisely. That's what I mean. You need
What
to
do you mean?
tackle
You
the
just said
effects, not-
unless you do have all the sex workers.
No, I mean,
Implying that
physically
would fix it.
stops inceldom, but not the effects of inceldom.
Even fix inceldom. I think you're
Well, I
you're
mean, it
taking a
would.
really
These
naive
people would no
understanding
longer
of what
be
it means to be
voluntary
an
celibate.
incel.
They'd have a literal government subsidized sex worker.
No, but it's not. Look, it's not nearly. It's kind of an identity. It's not really like a state of being. Like
Yes,
once you've had
that's why it's
sex, once
mental
you've had like if
health.
you've had sex with a prostitute, you're not necessarily an incel anymore by definition. It's because
Yes.
you're trying to take some rigid definition of what it means to be an incel. You don't quite understand what these people
No,
are about.
that's the idea. I'm not taking the rigid definition at all. That's why I'm saying that you can still have these government subsidized sex workers who go to people's houses and shag them, but that does not remove the effects of inceldom. Inceldom, as we understand it now, is more than simply being involuntarily celibate, and I think it's mostly a mental health problem. That seems to be where the money, if any is available, should go.
It's not a mental health problem. That's okay. So that's trying to say that it's the guy's fault. No, it's not a mental health problem. It's the women's fault.
It could
Okay?
be both. I never specified that it was the guy
No,
or the
it's
gal,
more
but
the
you're very
women's fault.
defensive over this.
It's
Well, you
more
did
the,
you
no,
did
I am very
specify it.
defensive because it's really
When?
pisses
When
me
did I
off.
specify it was the guy's
Because a
fault?
lot of these incels are look. First of all, a lot of these incels are like kind of
I never even specified all incels are men.
what's
Incel
the
was a
kid
term
in the Wonder
invented by a
Years
woman.
name, right? His name was like what is his friend that they always used to convince or make people think he was Marilyn Manson? You know what I'm talking about? The kid in the Wonder Years. He's just kind of an Paul. His name is Paul in the show. So Paul is a nerdy kid, right? But the thing is, Paul has a lot of very virtuous things about him. He's really sweet. He's good to girls. He would always put a woman on a pedestal and stuff like that. So like he's not mentally, he has no mental health issues. He's a great guy. Like, you remember Danny Tanner, right? Like Danny Tanner from Full House.
Yeah, I'm not exactly taking like fictional characters as a good representation
No, I'm
of
trying to give you
like
guys a good
everyday life. Like
representation of a
sitcoms
type
are
of
probably not the
mentality, and I
best way
think
to.
that media has done the good thing where we can all say these type of personalities kind of embody a certain thing that we're talking about. What I'm saying is those guys didn't have mental health issues. They were just genuine, kind of nerdy, kind of tender guys and stuff like that, which in the modern day dating scene would just get chewed up and spit
So
out.
do you
But
think the
they
problem
don't have mental
stems
health issues.
from hypergamy then? Do you believe in hypergamy as a concept?
I think women are naturally hypergamous.
Right. Men aren't necessarily naturally hypergamous?
Yeah, they are, but they don't have the ability to actuate those realities the way that women do.
So if men had that ability, they would be just as, if not
And
more. Correct?
also, they're
Yeah, there
not. Their
doesn't seem to
degree
be a
of
solution to
hypergamy
this
is not as
that
problem.
doesn't mean,
magnified. Their degree of hypergamy is not as magnified.
If you're
as
just going to say it's naturalistic, right, that this is some kind of naturalistic thing, then there isn't a solution to it. You just have to live with it. Unless there could be a way around this, like, I don't know, mental health care.
No, look.
Yeah, but
what
it has
if
nothing to do with it's not a mental health problem. That's what I've been trying to tell you. It has nothing to do with men's mental health. It has
I
to do
mean,
with
it
women in a
is. It's
sustainable.
associated with like image and self-confidence and the ability
No,
to
well, look,
actualize one's
yeah,
desires.
there's some of that to it, but that's not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is not because these guys have image problems. It's the root of the problem is that females have unsustainable dating practices, which
Okay,
make
so
the
how do you
guys
change
project
that?
upon themselves that they, all of these things that you said.
Okay, so how do you change the concept of hypergamy?
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by changing a concept.
Okay, so how do you get rid of hypergamy in women if you believe this is the problem?
One viable method that would help at least reduce that ability would be making birth control illegal. Would be a step towards the good.
Illegal or legal, sorry.
Illegal.
Illegal.
Yes.
Correct.
Interesting.
Because he
I mean,
thinks
because
that
ideally,
if
like what
he
happens
removed it,
is,
then men would stop fucking 3s and 4s, making them
yeah,
big, and
yeah,
they could
men
have something
would try to
bigger.
fuck
Are
Yeah.
you
quality women at that point.
insane?
I
That would
mean, that's a
quadruple our incels.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
fantastic
that's
false
true.
economy you have there. You delay the problem for now to have much more of it later.
Why would it make it bigger?
Because you'd have more people, and if it's a problem that naturally occurs, it would necessarily occur more often.
No,
I
because
don't really think it's gonna stop guys from fucking threes.
No, I think
yeah,
it
they'll
would.
just come on
I
the
think it
tits.
would. I think if you thought that there was the only reason I've ever fucked a 3 or a girl quite below my station is because I always had the idea that I wouldn't get her pregnant. If I went into it thinking that it was likely or quite quite on the table that I could get her pregnant, then I wouldn't have banged quite a few of
Why do
them.
you think you're less able to get a less attractive woman pregnant?
Shameless, the most popular method of birth control is pulling out.
Yeah, but that's just because guys are cool like that. But I mean,
No,
there's like a whole
hang on.
shitload.
We can't gloss over this. Why do you think you're less likely to get a less attractive woman pregnant?
But I'm saying, like, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't have banged a lot of 3s and 4s in a clear state of mind. Had I
So,
thought that it
yeah,
was more likely that
so
I'd
if
get them
you're
pregnant.
inebriated in some fashion, you're more likely to get them pregnant.
Yeah, that should be obvious. I mean, I don't know why you would ask that question.
Yeah, but I don't know why you're saying, like, okay, birth control, if you get rid of birth control, more people would go for 3s and 4s who are less likely to get pregnant because they'd have to fuck in an inebriated way. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that's would just be in case you think that every people that have sex are in virtue of being inebriated. I don't think that all
Who said
sexual acts are
that?
explained in that way. I think that some people have sex in a clear mind.
All
Quite
Yes,
certainly, I
so
wouldn't.
as do I. I
Well,
want to know
no, I'm
why
just saying
you
quite
believe
certainly
that
in
the
a
less
clear mind, I
attractive
wouldn't have
woman
banged those
you have
3s and
less.
4s. Quite
Why
certainly
do
in
you
a clear
think
mind.
a less attractive woman has less of a chance of getting pregnant if you have sex with her?
No
I
one
never
said
said that. She would just have less likely chance of you putting her dick in her.
So the solution is to make all women 3s and 4s? Should we have some kind of
No,
Quasimodo
the
program?
thing is that I mean, what is hard to understand about this? If you thought that it was very likely that, let's say that you thought for some weird reason, this is just to magnify it to make it very obvious, that you had a 1 in 2 chance of every girl you had sex with, no matter what type of birth control or anything you used. It was just, you had 50% chance of getting her pregnant or not, right? You would probably want to fuck more quality women, okay? You would be reserved, okay? And you wouldn't
Unless
be
you're
banging 3s or
inebriated,
4s,
which you've admitted
okay?
to.
Yeah, but the thing is, that would only offer explanatory value if you thought most sexual acts were undertaken when people are in inebriated states. Okay,
So
No,
what
no,
did
you
you
said you're
do?
most
more
What
likely
did
to go
aren't.
you?
for unattractive women
Most
when
aren't. So what would
inebriated.
best explain it is that people wouldn't do it And so that's what I'm saying. Birth control would make hypergamy happen less. It would just
Okay,
mean
so
that
you want to get rid of inceldom by making people have or be less inclined to have sex?
no. What would
Right,
happen
so I
is
don't know what the
women would be
solution is.
less likely to fuck men above their station, and they would be more likely then to submit and fuck men equal to their station. And that would help alleviate
Why?
a certain
Wouldn't they still
population of
be
incels.
hypergamous? Wouldn't they still, if anything, because they don't have birth control, from their point of view, they'd be even more hypergamous?
Yeah, but
They'd
they
want to
can't
go for
act
people
on
who
it,
are
right?
way above their station. Well, no, they can't act on it in the sense of just fucking around. But if it was pretty much a guarantee that they'd have a kid, they'd become superbly hypergamous.
Except if
way
they would
more
never get
hypergamous.
fucked. I don't understand. It
Then
sounds
they'd
like
be
you're
incels.
refusing to.
Then they would be
accept
incels.
Yeah,
no, they wouldn't.
there'd be
They
more
would be incels for a
inceldom.
little while, and then they would adjust their preferences and accept the fact
No,
that
their
they're
preferences
fine.
would be
Right,
more
right. They would
hypergamous
be
because
more
there's more
willing
of a
to accept the
danger of
person of
them
their
having a
station. That's
child with
exactly
somebody
right.
below them or at the level of them. They want
No,
a
what
child
would
with
happen
somebody higher
is
than them.
because they would be getting less play from people above their station, they would no longer be these people who would be holding out, expecting that's what they deserve because that's what they'd be getting on the sexual game.
So
Okay, so they'd be
you're trying to
expecting.
solve inceldom and hypergamy with more inceldom and more
No. Listen, what that would solve is a certain portion, a certain population of the incels would then no longer be incels. So overall, it would alleviate the aggregate number of incels, right? Because what
So
would happen is
what
if you took
he's
so
trying
look,
to
the
say,
easiest way to understand it is take the entire incel population right now is just 100% because we're talking about that number. We're talking about the number of incels there are right now. So that's 100%. And let's say that some of these incels are incels in virtue of a certain type of dating dynamic where they're fives, right? But a five wouldn't date them. And the reason is because the fives are having constantly women who are fives are
This
constantly getting
is
sexual contact from men who are above their station.
this is really
So they can
flawed, and I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you
so
why.
if the women
Seamus,
were
I'll
put
tell
in
you
the
why.
position,
I'll tell you
yeah,
why it's flawed.
please.
Is that Seamus? Do you agree that when birth control measures are taken away, unwanted pregnancies rise?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you just didn't think to incorporate that aspect at all. You just want to think of it one way, right? So
No,
now,
it's true that a
all you have
certain
to do
number.
is show that the prohibition of birth control unwanted pregnancies would be less than the avoided unwanted children from a guy just not wanting to stick his dick in a four.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy to be demonstrated.
I mean, I just don't understand this point that it's going to make women less hypergamous. Because if they're in the situation, if they're hypergamic now, and then they're in the situation where it's more likely that they will become pregnant through having sex because they don't have access to birth control, then why would they begin rounding themselves to evens or down? Surely, if they're hypergamic anyway, they would pick a partner, if anything, that is more hypergamous because they would want to be in a better situation with a child than just having casual sex.
Look,
So they
if
would aim for a
if you're a
person who's
five, right?
more financially stable, more good looking, more able to navigate
Yeah,
their way
I
through
get
the
it.
world. They would become
We
more
all get it.
hypergamic.
Look, if you're a five that's a female, right, and every time you try and flirt with a guy who's a six, he shoots you down, you're going to learn pretty quick that you cannot get a six and you will pursue fives. But Tom's
hang
point
on.
is much more
Exactly.
interesting.
What happens is a
hang on, if
larger
that happens
population of the
anyway,
fives. Hold on. What that means by default is that a larger population of fives are then acquiring mates or suitors or whatever you want to call them, right? And so some population of those fives were incels. So what I'm saying, the aggregate number of incels has been alleviated because big women can no longer sustain those practices. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. Birth control, if you made it out illegal, and if men responded in such a way that they themselves would no longer bang women above their station, they'd want to bang somewhere close to even.
Yeah,
And
but
that would change.
when birth control is prohibited, unwanted pregnancies rise.
Yes, that's true. But the thing is, here's the thing. It is quite true that if you looked at a population with birth control, right, and you looked at a population without birth control, the number of unwanted pregnancies are going to be higher with respect to the latter population than it would be to the former. Okay, and there's, I mean, that just should be obvious and intuitive. Okay, but it doesn't mean that the numbers of unwanted pregnancies are something like 5 times of the magnitude of the people that are having sex or something like that. Okay,
Well,
but
I mean,
something like 5 times the magnitude. Think about this. I'm just trying to make an intuitive appeal because otherwise we're going to have to appeal to some type of formal data. What I'm trying to say is 5 times the magnitude would be easy to achieve if men no longer wanted to bang 15 different fives, right? And that would achieve the same level. So if you think that men have the ability, right, when women are operating that way, eights and so forth have the ability to bang over 15 different fives had they chose, just because of the nature of the dating game, then that would alleviate it in the same
he,
orders of the magnitude. Do you see what I'm trying
here's
to
an
say?
No.
interesting question for you. Do you believe in the age before mass and ubiquitously available birth control that people were less licentious in general?
No, I don't believe that.
So I don't know
But
how this is a
I think there's
solution.
different explanations. I think there's different explanations for that, though.
Okay, so do those explanations no longer apply?
Yeah, I don't think they apply as much at all. I think
Oh,
quite
really?
certainly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I mean I could explain it a little bit, but if you look at like the 50s, like first of all, birth control became much more prominent in the 70s, okay, with certain feminist movements, okay. And so if you look at let's rewind back to the 50s. So hold on real quick. I have to go FK.
I mean, we haven't said anything. I mean, I know he's away at the moment, but we haven't said anything about the fact that if this solution can do anything to address female inceldom, which I'm almost tempted to believe that he doesn't think exists, despite the fact incel was a term invented by a woman and used initially largely by women. And also, he seems to have the impression that this is entirely a female problem, that all of the onus to do anything about this should be placed on females, and men should just be allowed to seek their natural level in the
That's not
world.
true, right? So he said that he wants to outlaw birth control, right? So how is that saying that that women need to adjust their behaviors? What he's suggesting is that there should be a law to make men change their behavior.
No, he literally just explained that females would find themselves in a more precarious position and therefore have to level their social expectations. That he wants
Yeah.
them to do the grunt work of this. Yeah.
No, no,
That it's on them. The onus
men
is
would
on
have
them.
to initiate it, right?
Why?
Because if the if the men still fucked below their station, then there would be no need for anything to change. Look, it's not saying like I mean maybe Shamos is saying it because he's sexist, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case that you're saying that there's a flaw in females, right? He's acknowledging that both want to date above their station, but because of the way that sexual selection works, females are able to do it now. So there's an imbalance that exists, and that would need to be rectified. It's like saying any policy that is trying to allow for racial inequality, say before slavery, you're saying, oh, what? So white people have to adjust all of their behavior? It's like, no,
Well, yeah, because
there's
they're
an asymmetry here. There's an
instigating
asymmetry
yeah.
here, and the people with the most privilege should come down.
Yeah, because they are instigating the problem. I generally think the people who seem to be instigating most of the problem should change their behavior as opposed to the people who are on the opposite end of that, the people who are
Yeah.
receiving the problem.
So
Yeah.
have you
So
seen the studies with Tinder? Like I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's something like the bottom 20% of women match with the top 80% of men.
yeah, sure. How many of
Yeah.
those relationships actually go forward and work?
Why does that matter? The point is,
How many
oh,
people
wait, I'm
fuck?
actually interested to hear how that. So what?
So how many of those people actually fuck?
Why does it matter? I'm talking about selection, all right? So
I thought we were talking about inceldom. Celibate is rather a big part of that. I would have thought the amount of people who actually fuck out of that has some bearing on celibacy.
Well, I mean, the idea is that the people who you swipe right are people who you would potentially want to have sex with.
Yeah,
so
and
these
do
women,
they fuck?
it doesn't matter if they fuck, right? The problem is that the perception exists right now that the bottom 20% of women can attain the top 80% of men. Do you agree?
No, they can't necessarily attain them because there hasn't been a fucking, right? I need
No,
to know
but
how many of them fuck.
They believe
Yeah,
they can.
and and a lot of men are incredibly a lot of men in the world today are incredibly attracted to fictional characters. That doesn't mean that fictional characters engage in a hypergamy that's unfair against men,
What are you
right?
talking about? Look, if the bottom 20% of women can match with the top 20% of men, you've got a situation where you're acknowledging an eccentricity, right? That these men in the top 20% are willing to date the women in the bottom 20%. I don't know if those are the exact numbers, but if that's the case, that the men are willing to do that, but the females aren't willing to reciprocate, you've got an inequality.
Yeah, but I
It
need to know
doesn't matter
how
whether they
often
fuck.
that. Yeah, I need to know the
It
value of
doesn't
that
matter.
reciprocation.
It
Yes,
doesn't matter.
it does. Well, of course it does. Yes.
No, you can't just say yes after your own statement
It's
and make
quite common. There have been studies on like Tinder about it.
Yeah, there have been studies on people's preferences, right? Preferences. I get that. Everybody has preferences. I'm interested in the results of what happens there because incelibacy is not being incelibate in one's imagination or one's head. Then one can be incelibate against even fictional characters, right? I want to know the outcomes of these studies. I want to know how many of these people actually fucked because we know how Tinder works, right? You're like, oh yeah, I'll swipe right, swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. How many of those people do you fuck? Right?
Right.
That's the point.
That
I need to know the
you're
outcome of those preferences. Otherwise, they're just preferences. They're opinions that people have.
Yeah,
What are
right,
the
right. What you
outcomes of
just
those
said is a
preferences?
behavior that men do. Men just swipe they won't even look at the picture, right? They just want as many as they can.
Yeah,
Do you think women do that? And to the same degree?
I would say that women don't do it to the same degree. I would have to know on what basis the levels are for both sexes in terms of following through with those preferences and fucking. Because women may do it less, but may also fuck more of their choices. Men may make more choices, but fuck less of them. You
I
see how that
mean, like,
works?
doesn't it just like imply pretty much that there's gonna be more fucking?
It may mean that women have more specified choices and act on them as equally as much as men who have less specified choices. If there's no outcome to this, it's just preferences. It's meaningless.
Okay, so we ban birth control. Do you think men are going to swipe right less often?
I don't.
Yes.
I mean,
Why would they change?
Yeah, from my study of history, I don't think that people would tended to be less licentious even before the age of mass birth control. It seems to be that humans have been more or less roughly as licentious as they've always been since we fell out of the trees, and probably before then. And licentious in ways that go way beyond the pale of what we allow or legislate for in modern society. Yeah.
By the way, if you ban birth control, I'm just going to 3D print it.
And also, if you ban birth control, more children will be born who will more people you have. If you don't solve the problem of inceldom, you'll have more incels. QED, it's false economy. You're just pushing the can down the road, kicking the can down the road.
If the bottom 20% of males on Tinder, right, didn't match at all, despite swiping whichever way is accepting a match each, would that be enough data for you? Because those people are definitely not fucking if they're not matching at all.
I would want to see how many women on the bottom 20% are also fucking or being swiped.
Have you ever heard of revolutionary incels? You guys probably have. This might be a little bit too far above you guys. Like this might scare you guys. But there's some incels. There are some incels who are revolutionary in nature and think that the best way. They're kind of basically they're communists. It's kind of weird, but they think that there should be an incel revolution, and then once the incels have won, there should be an equal distribution of pussy.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard of
Basic,
this.
Yeah, so I
Basic-
mean that doesn't help anyone else either because then you don't get your preferences right. You're just assigned state pussy, presumably.
They're mad.
Yeah, you're assigned state pussy, but according kind of to your station in a certain degree. So like,
So who grades that? This sounds a bit like the mulatto scale of race here that the Spanish used in Puerto Rico. Like this seems a
there are
bit
ways that
arbitrary
they
and
can grade
silly.
it. I mean, have you ever heard of the Westminster? I'm not trying to be crude, but have you ever heard of the Westminster Dog Show?
Yes.
Think of it kind of like that.
What for people? See, so this is a solution to inceldom is to further judge people on their appearance and match them according to a sort of bureaucratic system.
We do that anyway.
Correct.
I mean, again, of
So
all the
we're already doing
arguments
it?
I've heard, of all the arguments I've heard here, none have addressed, firstly, female incels at all. Like that just appears to be out the window. All the
Well,
onus
there
is
are
on the
female
female to change.
incels, but they're not. They're very minority, small minority.
Are they?
And they
they're a
don't tend
type
to
of
be mass shooters.
Yeah, they're a type of class that really are kind of passive and irrelevant to pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we don't.
Well, are
No one's
they?
really
Because they
concerned. We
invented the
acknowledge
term.
their existence, but we're not really concerned at all with them at all or
Well,
their
they
well-being.
invented the term and the culture, and one can even argue
does
that
that matter?
really.
Oh, that sounds
Who
like
cares?
They could
you're
still
stepping
get
down the way
laid,
of
though.
what's called an etymological fallacy.
No,
Please
I
don't
mean,
do
I'm not trying to use it as in like, oh, well, they invented the thing, so they run it. I'm saying that like maybe it's more prevalent in females than you imagine, considering they did invent the term. They did largely come up with the black
But
pill
that doesn't seem to
concept and
follow, right? Does
propagated
it
it.
follow that inventing a term means it's more prevalent in your, like, to your demographic or your substation or whatever? That doesn't seem to follow at all. So I don't really understand how that works.
Well, I mean, it also doesn't seem to follow to me, but this might be because, again, I'm not from the United States, right? It doesn't seem to me that this idea of like, oh, less mass shootings would occur if you gave people sex. I mean, maybe that's true. Again, I think this is a cart horse fallacy. If you're
That's
concerned about the effects of inceldom, you need to go after the effects. If you're concerned about inceldom in totem, then I don't know. Maybe
Well, I've been
state-approved
talking
hookups are
about
the only
going
possible
after the
solution
root
you have to that.
cause. I think you misspoke. I'm talking about going after the root cause. I'm not just trying to cater to the effects of it.
What else might you fuck up in pursuing that?
Maybe your mom and her butthole.
Right.
Okay, so what do you think the root cause you believe is hypergamy? Yes?
He's taking a hammer to the problem. Doctors come in with scalpels, Shamo.
But you think the root cause is hypergamy? Yes?
I think if out of all the causes, the one that has the most control and explanatory force over the situation would be women's ability to access the domain of hypergamy more than men.
Right. Do you think there are any other solutions apart from like the banning of birth control?
Come up with some device that changes the way that women think.
Okay, so
Some type
literally
of
again,
pill.
the
I mean,
onus
big
is on
pharma
women
could
and it's
probably
all
come up
women.
with a pill of
Like,
some nature. We
so
could
there's
drug
no
them and pacify them. We could revert back to the patriarchy, which I actually think we should just revert back to the patriarchy.
Well,
because
yeah, I mean, of course you do. But there's like no concept of like maybe we should change representation in media so people's expectations aren't so high or unnaturally led. Maybe we should have better mental health care for people's self-confidence and ability to function in the world.
Well, I think,
Perhaps a distribution of
yeah,
resources so
media
people feel
maybe.
more
I mean,
desperate
that's a
and tired
largely
and weak
Jewish
all the
invention,
time.
so it's hard for them to not do it the way that they want. You have to speak to the Jews about that. So I don't have, but I mean,
Oh,
you know,
well,
in
I
terms,
mean, this is literally pointless at this point because you're just presenting conspiracy. Like, I can't falsify a conspiracy. Why would I try?
It's not just portrayals in the media and mental health, right? The point is that there's these perceptions among women that they can achieve hypergamy, and that's because
Where do
they
you think
can.
those perceptions come
But
from?
the fact that they can, and that's because of their well, how often they ovulate, right?
Hey, where do you think those perceptions come from? Do you think they're born with them? Do you think they're genetic?
I think they're a reflection of reality.
Right, and does that reality contain media and mental health?
No, well,
Oh,
it does, but I don't think that's
right.
what is. I think that it's the case that biologically this
So, yeah,
exists.
so it's genetically. Right, okay.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
So there
I
isn't a
think genetics
solution
has a
unless
better
we start
No,
like
explanation
that
than
doesn't
genetically
mean
anything.
there's
engineering.
not a
If there were
solution.
no
So,
TV
well,
or no
no,
billboards, I think the
please, there
same
isn't a
type of
solution
phenomenon would have
unless
been
we start
happening.
genetically dicking around with people, which again, I don't necessarily have a problem with.
No,
I'm all in favor of
that's not what I said at
transhumanism.
all.
Oh, well then how do we change it?
I think polygamy.
Okay, that would be a social thing, not a
Guys might
biological
want
thing.
to seriously consider something else. It's the idea that there might just be problems with no apparent or readily obvious solutions or something like that, or maybe
Well,
none that
polygamy
any
sure as
parties would
fuck
think.
isn't one.
And so, I mean, you guys are kind of approaching this like there must and there need be some solution or something. I
I
think
mean,
you
if
guys are
polygamy is,
you guys are kind of naive. Like, I'm just kind of looking at you guys like, are
no,
you
if
fucking kidding
anything,
me?
I'm the realist. I've been the one who sat here and said people have always been as licentious. I'm the person who sat here and said people have always had these mental health conditions and that the media is doing this. And everybody else has sat here and been like, oh, it's some kind of grand conspiracy that women all knowingly control biologically but don't know that they do. And the way to end this problem is just to make them pop out more kids so they can be incels in the future. Like, what are you talking about? or to allow polygamy but not polyandry. And
No,
we
no,
all
no,
just
no, no,
become a
no,
nation
no.
of
I'm saying
Mormons.
no. I'm saying the other way that polyandry should be favored.
Right, even though that's never really worked for any society that's tried it in the past.
Oh,
Guys, this is so simple. Just go get women. It's easy, dude.
Right. I mean, if these bottom 20%
Jesus
guys
Christ.
can't get
I'm
banged,
not an incel, but I
Jesus
sympathize
Christ,
so
I think
much with them.
Yuri's got it. I think Yuri's got it. Just fucking
Yeah,
get your courage up.
for so
Learn how women work. Accept that they're going to do things that drive you crazy once in a while, and get your fucking fuck on.
Yuri's the only incel in here. What are you talking about, Gus?
Yeah,
Yuri's
for,
not
for,
an
for
incel, you
so
moron.
many of these things, it's self-confidence, one's ability to navigate the media and the perceptions and images that one is presented with, as you know, compared to the reality that one can experience. These are all things that can be
Who said I
taught.
was an
Like these are
incel?
things that can be done through education and
Idiot.
mental health.
Don't worry about it.
That's like objectively not true. I'm like either a 6 or a 7, dude.
It doesn't quite.
And the other thing that you haven't addressed at all is what about, and they do exist, even though you might not believe that they do, but they do exist. What about homosexual incels? What do they do?
What's the problem?
What do
No one
homosexual incels
cares.
do?
No one cares about homosexual incels.
Oh,
No
okay,
one
so
cares.
that
Oh, well,
brings us
okay,
back
there we
to
go.
the
Yeah,
point.
fine.
What the fuck is the problem that you
homosexuals are
guys are
some
even
of the most
discussing? Who's not getting
promiscuous
laid is
demographic in the
totally
entire world.
irrelevant.
They will
It's the
literally
effects,
fuck a
right? And what are the
doorknob.
effects?
If you're a
A
fucking
few guys
homosexual
shooting up
incel,
some
you literally
goddamn
are so low
churches like
class
once a
market
year.
value that it's unbelievable. Shut the fuck up, Bent, you little queer.
Yeah, this guy's gonna ban birth control over a couple hundred people dying a year. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, no, people shouldn't die full stop, right? I mean, this is the other thing as well. That's not a reasonable
I
price to
never
pay.
proposed
And
birth control. I
Exactly.
just
What
said
is the what is the cost that
guys
we're even
wanted
trying to
solutions, so I
fix here?
offered some solutions. I'm sorry, man. We're in the situation room and you guys were
yeah, but
asking for
the solution you've offered is to like literally regress the world back to the 18th century and then genetically engineer it somehow and then pretend
I
it's
don't
not
care
women's
what kind
fault,
of
even though everything
liberal,
you've
what
said
kind of
leads
cuck
us to
liberal
believe it is.
ideology you're trying to pump.
Well,
I
we
don't know
won't
what
have
kind of
incels if we nuke the planet, guys.
Yeah,
That would
seriously, it's like how do you fix the fact that Seamus isn't getting enough popsicles? Well, fucking first thing you do is take birth
guys, man,
control.
I've had my fill. I'm not trying to brag, but if I
Exactly.
died
See?
today, I actually looked up the number of men that the average men have sex with. It's in between 6 and 7. So the average guy, if you average it out of all the men in the world today, they bang an average of 6.5, 7 women entire life. I'm so
Now, where does
far ahead of
where does
that.
that information come from?
Yeah, firstly, that
It
sounds
came
like
from
bullshit.
it came from Google. It came from Google.
Secondly,
well,
so do you value your
It's
self-worth
airtight,
on the
boys.
amount of
Don't even challenge it. It's airtight.
So all I'm saying, I don't care if
Sounding a
that's true or
lot
not.
like
I don't
Dio,
care.
Shamos.
I'm not
Sounding a
concerned if
lot
that's
like
true.
Dio.
I'm not
Shamos,
concerned so much with whether that's true or not. I'm just concerned with the fact that
Shamos, do
I've
you
had my
judge your
fill according to
self-worth
the
on
numbers.
a tally of how many women you've banged compared to other men, and of what rating you would give those women? So
Oh,
you
you're
can say like,
goddamn right he does.
In
You
a
are
certain,
okay,
goddamn
so
right.
in a
that's a
certain
mental health
dimension.
problem. That's a mental
No,
health problem.
no, that's
It
no,
is.
that's not true. That's
It is.
somebody who's a
Yeah.
beta cuck trying to pretend like that's a mental health problem.
No, it literally is. If you value your self-worth on your ability to have sex with people who you
No, I
rate on an
said in a
arbitrary scale.
dimension. I don't think that your whole self-worth is determined by that interaction there.
Yeah,
I
seems
think
to
that
be.
But yeah, but you're saying that those who can get laid are worthless.
I think that's an important dimension, but I think that the metric or the calculus would be far different than that dimension. I think it also has to do
Just
with.
because you say
I mean,
calculus doesn't mean
again,
you're right, dude.
Seamus,
Seriously.
if we were to base this on the Google data, right, like 6 or 7 people in a lifetime, then this seems to be a very big problem for you, but not really anyone else. See how that works?
No, I don't.
No.
Can you explain it?
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
because you need to feel as though you need to go to some ridiculous number, like 20, 50, 100, all the way up the scale. Like just keep
No,
going
I
and going
haven't.
and going. It's
No,
an
that's
endless scale.
ridiculous.
Whereas these people go, 6 or 7 is fine. That's not necessarily the basis of my
No,
self-worth.
all I'm saying is if I never banged another girl in my life, it wouldn't matter because I've had my fill. I'm not tripping on it.
Oh, that's not
Like you
true
guys.
because you're just maybe, I don't know, tired or
Definitely not true.
hungover today.
No,
But
I've learned something in my old age. have learned how to extract value from even some of the lowest quality women
Old age,
that
like 30 or
exist. So it's
something.
not
Like, how
really
old are you,
important to me.
Shamos? Like 30 or 20 or something like
So
that? Yeah, old
again,
age.
talking about like, I know you mean it facetiously, but talking about like extracting value from unattractive women, this is a big mental health problem. Seamus, please.
No, that's you're
Yes,
That's
it
healthy.
is.
Shamos is like younger than Tom, and Tom's not even an old guy.
That's a goddamn superpower, Portmanteau. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but on a side note,
It's like it's
Shamos.
borderline delusional, right? Like if you're talking about like extracting value and like you're superior from everybody, you know, it's borderline delusional.
What do you mean superior? Look,
I don't know
do
what
you
the
do you
fuck that
extract
has.
value from what from your dating and
Tom,
having sex
explain
with
to them
people?
what I meant, because I know that Tom knows
comes
exactly
from
what I'm
living
I,
your
I
life.
wouldn't say extract. I would say we exchange value because I provide something to them as well.
But
That
you
would be
are
my
also
my
extracting
take.
value
Whatever.
in exchange for your own.
Well, I
It
would,
doesn't-
yeah, I would say we're exchanging because I'm giving something in
These guys
return
don't
of
understand
what I'm
at all
getting.
what
You
Oh
I'm
know?
man,
Yeah.
Con is dropping
Anyways,
in.
look, Shamos. The point is that all that shit you said about I've had my fill and blah blah. That sounds a lot like Dio and your little talk with him. Remember
I know
that?
that does. I'm not gonna lie. That is very Dio-esque. I think that is pretty
Do you
cucked
think there
of me.
might
I
be a
shouldn't
little
have
bit
said
of
that.
rationalization going on there, bud?
Yeah, that's pretty cucked of me. That is rationalizing. I shouldn't have said that. Actually, I'm glad you brought that to my
Oh
attention.
shit.
And for
Yeah.
this other guy who's talking about extracting value from women, that's not actually that controversial. It just means that let's say who's that K-Con? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Why?
Yeah, will you fuck a 3?
Just say no,
So
bro.
what?
Will you fuck a 3?
I don't know whether I'm attracted to them or not. Like seriously,
Dude,
like
you're a three.
if
You're
you
objectively not attractive.
if you put a gun to my head, yes, I would.
Okay, let's say that they're not attractive. Will you fuck her?
Why would it? Wait, are we
No, I
talking about
wouldn't.
physical appearance
I
as a
wouldn't.
3?
Yeah.
Okay, what if what if you like love is blind, right?
Look,
What
but
if this
let me
person is
just
valuable to you?
finish up because
Yes, all right, go ahead. No, go ahead.
the
It's like
premise
the thing is,
the premise was their physical appearance, right? And Seamus was talking about extracting value from them, not from their inner
Yeah,
beauty or some bullshit, right?
Yeah, but Seamus made it about physical appearance. Like this is
Well,
again
when
what I mean
K-Con
for it to
responded
be.
to him, was he talking about something else? Are you saying that his response
That
was just completely fucking
This
irrelevant?
is what I'm saying is that this again seems to be the idea of pushing this onus onto women, despite the fact that Seamus is the one who's judging them by a scale of attractiveness. He's the one extracting his worth out of this arbitrary scale of attractiveness, and can apparently
Doesn't
see the
matter
value
because
in this sense beyond the physical scale of attractiveness.
Khan's attractiveness is always going to be, it's also going to be arbitrary. But guess what? It's based on Khan. And to know that, I just have to ask Khan, hey, would you fuck an unattractive girl? Now, we don't
Look,
even have to go into like the
Yeah,
objectiveness
this is
of
weedy
beauty and what that
semantics,
fucking...
right? This misses the entire
Yeah.
point of what was being said, that it's not necessarily a basis of physical attractiveness. This is something that is coming from the man and attempting to push the onus onto the woman, saying that it's the woman's problem for being unreachable in this scale of attractiveness that they've built for some
Amen.
reason, and then going, the way to change this is to change women. You're the one who constructed the scale, you're the one who follows it, you're the one who finds your worth from it, but it's women's fault. That's nonsense.
I have no idea what any of what you said, why that's relevant to talking to Khan right now, right?
No,
Khan
this is what I'm saying. You're getting lost in the semantics of that
You
back and forth.
keep
We can move beyond that.
interrupting. Do you ever shut up?
Because that's K-Con's answer, and you interrupted, bro. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Yuri. Look, Han laughed at the idea of Shamos extracting value from
Yes, I did.
unattractive women, right? So what do you think that means when Shamos says, I'm able to extract value from...
Well, to be honest,
I
I don't quite get it because I don't see women in the same light. So like I don't understand what he exactly means when he says that. You
So
know?
you're disagreeing with what he said, but you don't know what it was he was saying. Is that what you're saying?
I just think
that my first
he-
listen,
he is-
Khan, bud. My first question was, you disagree with what Shamo said about extracting value from it, and you said yes, right? And now I'm here asking you to elaborate on what you disagree with, and you're saying, I don't understand what Shamo said. What the fuck?
Halfway through your statement.
Yeah, you're
just think
saying
that
the
his-
first
that his
question. Listen,
whole-
the first question was, "Hey, Khan, don't you disagree with what Shamo said about extracting value from unattractive women?" Question mark. Your answer, yes, yes, I do, right? And now we're talking about, well, why don't you tell me about what you disagree with exactly? Why don't you elaborate on? I don't know what Shamo said. Does that make any fucking sense to you?
He told you. He said he
Excuse me,
exchanges value with
portmanteau. I
people.
am not talking to you right now.
Yeah, he already gave you the answer.
Excuse me, I am not talking to you right now.
Yeah, he's saying that I already gave you the answer. I just like our worldviews are fundamentally different. That it is literally impossible for me to fully understand what he is
Then
saying.
what is it that
That's
you
what I meant.
fucking disagreed with him about?
So what I disagree with is that I think his worldview of extracting value from a woman is fundamentally flawed. Because
We're not talking about
I've-
whether or not it is flawed or not. Look, you disagreed with.
That's what I disagree with. That's what I disagree with. I don't agree with his worldview. That's your question, right?
What does that have to do with his worldview?
Because he's assuming. I mean, he believes that you can extract value from women, which I disagree with.
Well, look, here's the problem with. What do you think
okay.
Shamos means by that? You're going to say, I don't know, but you're saying you disagree with it.
Because he said that you
Excuse me,
exchange
portmanteau.
value
I
with
am
women,
not talking to you.
extract
Excuse me,
value, you
I am not
exchange
talking to
Dude,
you.
what are you doing, bro? Do you know who runs the server? Why are you just over talking right now?
All right,
man?
Yuri, take it easy. Relax, buddy.
Okay, I'm sorry. I want this point to be made clear, and I'm tired of people interrupting. Go ahead, Tom. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Jesus Christ, Yuri. Fucking. He knows you love him. Take your tongue off his nuts.
Yes.
Okay, so what does Shamos mean when he says, you look at that girl and you say, she is too unattractive for me to fuck. Shamos comes along and says, you know that same girl? I can fuck her and enjoy it. I can extract value from her. So you disagree with him. You disagree with him on what?
I disagree with the idea that you extract value from a woman. I've said that repeatedly.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, I think that what he meant is that he can get enjoyment from like ideally unenjoyable woman, you know?
Yeah, what's wrong with that? You disagree that that's possible? What the fuck? What the fuck? Literally, like,
Wow.
every single person is gonna have a different standard. Every single one. You disagree with everybody?
Well, I disagree. So when I say that it's when I say that he's getting enjoyment, it's a little bit flawed, right? Because it's a little bit disingenuous to say that you're extracting value is the same as enjoying another person's presence. They're a little bit different. Do you agree with that?
I have no idea what the fuck you just said. There are many
Do you
ways
agree?
in which you can interact with a female sexually
agree.
in a sexual context where you can enjoy it. And that's what we're meaning by extracting value, is to get some sort of enjoyment from your sexual interaction with her. And for you to disagree with that is like nonsensical.
Would you like me to show you?
Why are you getting so hung up on this? Like that's my question.
Having trouble with the
Why are you
word
getting so hung up on this? Like this is
Maybe we
so
should give him a visual aid, Tom. and
If I show you, dude. Yeah, I know where Shamos is going. Yeah, so Shamos take over because I just heard what Shamos said. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Go ahead, Shamos. But yeah, me and Shamos thought about the same thing. We're going to need a visual. I can actually I got tons of visuals on my phone real quick that everyone can see in general chat. So hold on real quick, I'll post some.
Yeah, we do need a third we do need a third wave feminist in here. That's the only thing
Yeah.
that's preventing this discussion from exploding. Nah, she's one that will interact.
Brenda?
Con, look what I just posted, man.
I don't know about that.
Whoa.
Con,
No,
look what I
that's
just
a.
posted.
You needed an ugly girl, Yuri, to make the point.
Oh
right?
no, I just want to see if he thinks that girl's attractive or not.
What point is it gonna make?
Give her a number, sir.
Yeah, give her an... Hold on, let me find an ugly girl real quick and we can do a comparison. I'll put the ugly and the pretty girl side by side. Hold on.
To Yuri, like a non-Asian girl is ugly.
That's correct.
I'm Asian, so she's obviously very attractive to me.
Look, this is a waste of
Okay,
time. We
look in
needed an
not
ugly
safe for
girl.
work. If you need a visual aid of extracting value from a low quality female, look in not safe for work. That's one way that I've found that you can do so.
Look, this is
Ew.
when you what Shamos is doing, where he says he's extracting value. Like, do you understand the woman is getting something out of it too? He's exchanging, right? So what you're talking about is just semantic.
Yeah, I think so too.
Colin, look at what I posted in general chat.
That's what I realized as I was talking about the point.
Colin, look what I posted in general chat. You see the top bitch and the bottom one? Which one would you rather fuck? Sorry about that. I got too aggressive. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Which one, bro?
I choose the top one.
Wow.
Tom, this guy is a troll, man. This guy's fucking.
Really?
Like,
Why?
what do you think I'm gonna say? Like, that's what I'm curious about.
Oh wait, which one? Are you talking about the one? Are you talking about the one Ben posted, or are you talking about the one I posted? Because he could.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
which
don't know
one
who you
was
are.
top?
I'm talking about the one that Yuri posted.
Oh me? Oh okay, yeah, but oh okay, you got confused. I was talking about the one on
I
top of the one.
said the top one.
Yeah,
Like,
which
I
one?
don't understand what you're saying.
What ethnicity is the top one?
Oh, you posted 2 photos. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
My
never
bad.
mind, never mind. That's cool.
I
Never
thought
mind, bro.
I got confused with the another photo of like a lady who's like licking
Right,
something or
right.
something.
I
Yeah,
got you. I got
got
you, man. That's what I figured. I had to make an inference.
So do you agree that Shameless can extract value from unattractive females?
I guess if you think that you're extracting value, like for me, extracting value is like a form of exploitation, you know?
That's
okay. Let's just replace the term. I thought we've already done this, but maybe I had to be more explicit for you. Do you think that
All
Shamos
right.
can enjoy unattractive females?
Yes, of course.
Okay, that's all extract
Like,
value means.
well, for me, it doesn't, and
Well,
that's what I meant by like fundamentally different worldview.
It doesn't have to do with a fundamentally different worldview. It just has to do with what someone means by a word.
Yeah, he has a metaphysics of value and stuff, though. So let's not get into.
I think this is just a very pointless argument. Like, to be honest, like I don't know why you guys are getting so hung up on this.
It's fine.
Well, we're getting hung up on it because if you do object in the way that it seemed like you were objecting, it's insane. So it is pointless if you're just not able to understand when we transpose two words because you thought one had a meaning and we clarify and say it just means enjoying. Yeah, that's not very interesting. But you agree with Shamos now, right? That he says he can enjoy unattractive women?
Yeah, of course.
And
Like,
in a way that is
I never disagreed with that.
compatible
I don't know
with-
where this is coming from. I
and
never
in a
disagreed with
way, shut up. And in a way that is completely compatible with the contraception ban. The solution might just be to make them gay.
So Khan, what do you think what is the solution to cells then?
Oh, it's just like changing their worldview, right? Like if you think that you're like if you have the mindset that you're like completely unfuckable, like it's very difficult to actually be fuckable. You know, that mindset is in itself is a very unfuckable personality. You know.
So we're gonna have to pour some law of attraction on there. Got
I'm sorry, what?
The secret,
No.
is this where this is coming from? Just be confident? Is that what it is?
Just be confident, man. If you're confident, confident things will happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Jovan, your mic is crap.
Yeah, it's funny because like this is just so people don't understand. Like there have been I've seen on TV and stuff where they've done experiments where like the super hot girl just like she gets followed around. There's like things are just literally given to her, attention placed upon her, just whatever she wants. People give it to her for fucking free. She gets deals, so just like everything. And then they put her in a fat suit and she's a piece of shit. Just be confident in your fat suit though, right? Yeah, it'll be the same. It's gonna be just the same. You can still get that 10 out of 10 guy. You weren't confident
I'm
enough.
treated just like a hot chick in my fat suit.
These
The thing is,
people that just try to reduce it down to that are just fucking insane, right?
even if it was the case that being confident could get them out of that hole, it would just push someone else into it.
Right, and then you're just gonna be okay. So, guy's really hot, and you're not, but now you're both confident. So, of the two, who is someone gonna choose? Well, sorry, not you. Still, in regards to that particular,
It just becomes an
female.
arms race.
Yeah. Ugh. just seriously, look at what they're bringing to the table. Just be more confident, man. Dude.
Just be more confident, bro.
Fucking people are like missing teeth and shit. You're like, dude, just you know what? Confidence, man, is what you need. Fuck those dental implants and veneers, bro. You just need more confidence. Smile, like, dude, smile, dude. Fucking don't even like fucking like try to hide it.
Missing teeth is kind of a deal breaker. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that.
Not if you're confident. Not if you're confident about it, though.
This kind of reminds me when Ludic was telling Tom to like, no, just change some settings in your BIOS, man. It's gonna change your performance completely.
Right.
Yeah.
need
You know what? You know
upgrade.
what changed everything? Fucking complete upgrade. That's what changed everything. Now I'm flying.
Well, Ludic technically wasn't wrong. If you touched your BIOS and did anything wrong to it, you'd have noticed some real fucking things in your performance. All right.
Oh, now we got boomers
Oh, here we
coming
go.
in trying to
Yeah.
engage in conversations
Oh,
that they
fuck
don't.
off with the boomer. God,
Oh,
you gotta
well, we
give
got-
that some time. You can't just default to that.
There was nothing wrong with
Now
my
we've got-
machine due to
Now we've got
BIOS.
boomers. Now we've got boomer fucking. Jesus Christ, Yuri, would you clear the fucking hawk from in front of your teeth? Fucking, guys, shut up. Tom's talking.
Oh my god, boomers!
Look, it just. No, Ludic was telling me that 1, I didn't need to upgrade. 2, that I could just overclock my shit. Blah blah blah. And 3, I don't really need much more. What do I need more power for?
Overclocking
Stick
is
to your
so
power
90s.
setting.
So 90s, the fucking overclocking.
Well, Ludic is overcocked, so you know.
So nice. Back in my day, we did this thing called overclocking. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
Yeah, so Khan, any other solutions, bud? Besides be more confident?
Okay, so you have to understand that there's more to like having a different perspective than just being confident. You know, if you fundamentally hate women, you're obviously not gonna get along with women, right? Do you agree with that?
This is amazing insight.
I don't
don't
know.
think that follows.
Yeah, maybe generally I could say just yeah, but
The confidence thing just entirely misses the point too. 'Cause what Shameless is not saying that these incels simply just can't get fucked because they think they can't get fucked. Elliot Raja was the king of fucking incels, and he thought he was a catch. He thought that he was like this god of men that needs like these women don't deserve him, and he needs this like perfect.
Well, they all think that, and that's why they
Shameless
can't
is
get.
saying Well, Shamos is saying it's not that these people like think that they are so unattractive that they can't get fucked. It's that these people can't get fucked by their own levels. It's like they're having to fuck women of lower levels, and they don't want to do that.
Oh, not this again.
How many guys haven't done that though?
But that self-perception can be flawed, right? Like, you might think you're
Listen,
like
the point is that people don't understand what Shamos is saying, and they're attacking things that Shamos isn't even saying.
Right.
I still can't figure out what you guys are talking about.
It's not
Talking
hard, bro.
about incels,
Yeah, there we go.
particular incels that like shit like mass shootings. How to prevent incels from doing stuff like that? Generally, the incel quote unquote problem.
And how to come.
Well, I don't think that we should like pander to this issue that they claim they have to stop them from shooting people, right? So I think there's two different things going on here.
I have no idea what you just said.
So we're talking about incels that are doing bad things, right? Is that the point?
Yeah.
Like Thomas.
So like, there's plenty of guys who struggle to get laid or not, and what percentage of them are actually shooting people?
I don't know. It's a very small percentage.
Maybe it's a little bit more than being an incel, right?
I think
No
the
one is
mass
saying there
shooters,
aren't
the
like
mass shooters are there's a political element that is on top of the whole incel thing, and then also just like someone who's really susceptible to radicalization. I think that it's a little bit more than just the incel thing. The incel thing is a problem, but I think the mass shooting thing is an element of incel and an element of like political radicalization.
Well, no one's saying that this issue is like singularly attached, right? It's multifaceted, so no one's saying that like it's in virtue of the fact that someone's an incel.
Yeah, I just think I don't know. I really liked I only agree with ContraPoints maybe like 75% of the time, maybe. Like, there's a lot of things she says that I disagree with, but her latest video called Men is a really good, like, balanced, conversation about, like, how these young white men end up getting radicalized, and it's because, like, you know, there's like that movement for women to be equal, which is entirely valid. But then that kind of equalization takes away the male need to be the protector, right? And it is biological. And without men being in that role, they feel like there's you know, they don't have a role in society. They feel ostracized. And I think that's a huge issue. I think our culture in trying to go one way, it ignores it's kind of a double-edged sword, because in trying to lift one group up, you're actually causing issues for the other group. But that doesn't mean that that movement isn't necessary. It's just that we need to offer a solution for those who feel ostracized, and those are the boys who end up gathering in these hate groups online and these incel forums and stuff, and they end up hating women. And I think ContraPoint is right when she says that men are the people who need to try to offer a solution. Like you know, like men need to have good role models, and I don't know if, like, off the top of my head, like good male role models for the movement that they need.
I think a good role model for the incels would be someone like Shamos.
I don't know.
Yeah, but look at the role models for women. They're like Instagram thoughts with like the biggest ass. I mean, like it's
It's true.
those are
Really?
lit. Those
I
are
don't
those
think
are
so.
liter. What? Are you kidding me? They're
But
not. They're
then
not just.
again,
They're not just. They're
I'm
just
never on
not.
Instagram.
They're not just role models. They're idolized.
Right.
Really? Maybe I'm out of touch because I'm not really on Instagram.
Dude, women are like altering their bodies from like the age that it's legal to do so to just be these people.
Yeah, I'm probably a little out of touch.
Well, I mean, look, you not being on Instagram that much doesn't. I mean, first of all, I doubt you would follow all the same people, but you probably just wouldn't aspire to have to idolize or be like a lot of those women. The point is that a lot of young women do, right?
Wait, is the claim that a lot of young women like modify their bodies and stuff? I'm confused what the claim is.
The claim
claim is
which
that-
you pushed back on was that many role models for young women are Instagram thoughts.
I don't think that's the case.
That's insane. That's crazy.
I mean,
No, I doubt a single person in this room is going to agree with you on that. Does anybody disagree with me besides Jackie?
I'm not so sure if you guys take me seriously anymore, but I don't think that a lot of the role models are thoughts. I don't think so. I think there are plenty of like non-thought role models that you can, aspire to be.
I think
no
this
one's
whole
making- no
thought
one-
as role
really, no one-
models is such a small subset of culture and society. It's really just people who are, a small part of the people who are active on Instagram. Like, I don't think that's
But no
reflective of
one's
the
making
general
the claim.
population.
But no one's making the claim that all role models for women are thoughts, though. We're just saying them, right? But if you go on Instagram and you go on popular social media platforms, right, there are going to be people who emphasize beauty and basically various attractive feminine stereotypes, right? Look, just go on Twitch and find a streamer, right? And see how many people aspire to be like them. Or Instagram, like Tom said, which is a better one, right? Look how many people are females are in the comments, right? Talking about you go girl and yeah, that's right. And stuff like that.
I just wanted to
It's just insane.
say
Look,
that
they're out there
the one I just
following.
posted.
They're
one I
out
just
there
posted,
fucking
great role
following
model.
Daisy Keech, not Ruth Ginsburg. I mean, like, what? Can you even really have that perception?
I don't know. I don't
The
know
Supreme
who
Court
those are.
Justice.
Vader Ginsburg.
But I think people are attracted to accomplishments and entrepreneurship. And
Some are.
I think most people are. I think the when people, I don't think people like look up to attractiveness as like an accomplishment. Like they look up to it like, oh, I want to look like that, but I don't think that that's like wholly like, oh, that's all I want to do with my life. I think people look up to artists and businesswomen and creative people and people who have made a name for themselves. I think those are the true role models. I think if you asked anyone, they would probably tell you their favorite role model is like someone who's written a book or directed a movie or maybe someone who is in office or who owns a business or maybe even their mom or their a relative or something like that. Like I don't think if you ask any average woman on
Yeah,
the
but who
streets, like, who are your
cares
role
what they
models, they
say,
would
right?
name
Who
the
cares
thought.
what they say? I mean, like, look, If you go to church on Sunday and ask how important God is, and they're gonna say the most important thing, and when they go home on Friday night, it's gonna be fucking Twitter and talking to fucking boys, right? I don't give a fuck what they say is fucking important to them. I mean, all you have to do is look at the followers and the people that are fucking like taking pictures of their fucking food and shit, right? I mean, like, look, people just going into the gym to get an ass like fucking Daisy Keach or some bullshit, right? People paying thousands of dollars just to fucking have her write their fucking name on some ornament on them in the background, right? These are people that fucking idolize these people. They do not idolize fucking these entrepreneurs and shit like that. I mean, it does happen, right? And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It does, but
that's why pop culture makes so much money.
I just don't think that like a lot of like this kind of culture online is really reflective of the general population.
That is, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Well, who do you think is following them and stuff like that? Like random, like people who don't like. I don't get. Like,
Well, you guys are just like
who do you
referring
think people on the
to
internet
like
are
Twitch
liking
and
and
stuff,
following?
right?
What?
You guys are referring to like Twitch and stuff as like the source of your claim, right? And I think that's accurate.
Yeah, but these people that are like on Instagram and stuff, they actually exist in real life. I mean, yes, some of them are like
I'm not making a claim about some sort of percentage of people that are role models. My claim was simply, for a lot of women, there are going to be tons of women. We can gather them all up, and there'll be a fucking lot of them in which that their role models are internet thoughts. Now, for someone to fucking disagree with that is insane.
Like I said, maybe I'm just out of touch because the only like social media interaction I really have ever is Discord and like Instagram, but like with people I know in real life. But I like check Instagram like once every 3 days.
But I mean, it's not even just Instagram. It's on magazines at this supermarket. It's you know, it's all of those things everywhere.
TMZ.
It's
Come on, guys.
ever since the fucking Kardashian show hit
Are
the
you including
airwaves.
pop
This has
stars?
been a thing. What?
Pop stars considered thoughts as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by
Yeah,
far.
I agree, Mom.
Yeah, you go to the checkout. It's the tabloids and the People magazines aren't full of like female entrepreneurs that are ugly as shit. No, it's fucking some thought or like some Prince Harry bullshit or some blah 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 blah, like Taylor Swift, blah blah blah.
We're not
Like,
talking about Martha Stewart, boys.
what's the current size of Kim Kardashian's ass or some bullshit like that, right?
Literally that, yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that because like
10
it appeals
tips to
to?
lose your virginity. That's one of them. I saw one of them.
I could be totally wrong here, but isn't that because it appeals to like male audience as well?
No, yeah, sure.
How many males are buying women magazines?
That's a really complicated issue, though. That is very true, Con. That's
Well,
the
I
root
mean,
of
I
the
think
problem.
what Khan's saying is that can the same apply to? I think what Khan is saying is that the same can apply to men, right? If there are like men magazines for how like a man should act or how boys should be or whatever, and I think there are magazines that are tailored to that are quite, you know, and especially from like I've talked to a lot of people or to a lot of men, you know, who definitely look up have certain role models who are like popular. I wouldn't call them like bots, but I would call them like jerks, I guess.
The people in these men's magazines, though, don't comprise who people would consider role models, generally speaking. Even if you do pay attention, I'm not saying no one finds them role models, but vastly less than the reverse for females.
I mean, look how big Jake Paul and assholes like that.
There's a lot less emulation going on, I think, between men and women in their role models. And I'm not sure what that's about, unless it's just because women are more focused on how we look, right? Generally, because society, I guess. I don't know, but to say that that's not a prevalent thing right now is it's everywhere. But there's even new like influencers. There's new categories of people because there's so many thought chicks and stuff, you know, like there's a whole new occupation category for these people. It's weird. It's a problem. And it's like I don't know who. It's like I'm trying to assign blame, and I'm not sure why, but I don't know where it comes from and who needs to stop doing what first to make it end. But it's a problem.
It's as old as the
just
Bible.
back up for a second, because I've been like kind of also using the term thought in this conversation to reflect the vocabulary that's being used, but without really fully understanding what it means to be a thought. So can someone explain to me just briefly, like, what that even kind of means? I'm under the impression that it has to do with like maybe someone who like makes video content or Instagram content who's really
A
attractive.
thought. Well, yeah, a thought is just simply it's an acronym. A thought means that hoe over there. It's
Then
basically
why are we
referring to women as a
calling
hoe.
women thoughts?
Because well, no, the
So
thing
they're
is that a
reflecting that
lot of the
behavior.
women, a lot of the role models that are popular right now are women that are only popular right now because they are pretty and vacuous and had a sex tape, or you know what I mean? Like there's nothing substantive there, and it's all about what they're doing with their bodies, what their body looks like, and what they're modifying next. That's like a thing. It's I don't even know what it is. I can't even verbalize.
I don't see that going on. Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
it
but
goes on
you're
in this room, Jackie. Come on.
yeah, but you're
You don't watch
self-professed as being
TV or
ignorant on
something.
this, so like I don't know
yeah,
what you
I know. I guess I'm ignorant on it.
Yeah, but you're pointing to your lack of knowledge about that as like support for your position, but like you're self-professed
But
as
I'm
being
being
ignorant.
truthful. That I guess I don't know. So let's move on, because this conversation is kind of unproductive if I don't know
I
what's
agree.
going on in pop culture or whatever.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
What were we tying that to? I can't even remember now. What we were
Incels, right?
I don't know.
Something
Someone
like
was I don't know. I don't know how that came up. We were talking about role models.
Right.
And then I brought up that a lot of female role models are like Instagram like thoughts. And then you disagreed. That's how we got on that.
Yeah.
I think
I
we've
should
landed on. I think we've landed on that every woman in here needs to go out and fuck a random guy.
Is that what happened?
No,
You will
thank
save.
you.
You will save a life.
I mean, look at Claire. Claire goes to the gym to only work out her ass. So does Layla.
So? What's wrong with having a beautiful butt?
Like Jackie, there's women in here that find their body so sacred and such a like a huge like deal that they would not send a picture of their nude body to save somebody's life.
I think it's just
That's
efficiency working on your butt because it's the biggest
What do you
muscle
mean
and it's going
so?
to regulate your. Wait.
Did Jackie just say so?
If a woman doesn't want to share her nudes, then she doesn't have to.
Even if this is save someone else's life, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh
she
my
doesn't have
god.
to.
Oh, I
That
thought
doesn't
you
mean
said
it.
that was
Give
an
me a
expression. I thought you were being like, oh, she wouldn't send
Just
her
because you
nudes
can save a
just to
life
save a
doesn't mean you
life.
have to do it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. I mean,
it
that's
doesn't
true.
mean you
But
have
it
to.
wouldn't be moral to not do.
That is
Yeah, but still, like, you don't have like an obligation to save somebody's life, right?
Oh, look, we know. Stop repeating it.
Yeah, you want to
Okay.
point out that it's a free country and that we can all also have our opinions. Blah blah blah. Platitude bullshit. Don't even come here with that bullshit.
I mean, I'm not trying to come here there with anything, but okay.
You coming at me?
Okay.
Look,
this conversation sucks.
if I had to suck another guy's dick, save anyone's life in this room, I would do it in a heartbeat. There wouldn't be
I mean,
any. There wouldn't even be any thinking about it. Now, for
That's
someone to
great,
be
man.
like, I wonder if I should send a picture of my breasts to save someone's fucking life, it's just fucking insane.
It's
I mean, I wasn't saying that I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying that no one is obligated to.
And then Khan to be like, hold on a sec. Am I obligated to do it? Like, fuck
You're not
off,
obligated
man.
to save a
Fuck
drowning
off,
child.
bro.
Exactly. Nobody is obligated to do it. Just because you want to do it doesn't mean that everybody should do it. Hello?
This is not a
Can you
question
wake
about
up?
obligation, you fuck.
It's not a maxim.
Nope.
It's not even a question about wanting. It's not even a question about what you want to do. It's nothing to do with what you want.
Alright, I can clear this up
But you're
really
making a
easily. Hold
judgment
up.
about a lady who said no to that question, right? You're making a judgment, and I'm saying that your judgment is misplaced.
How?
Because they're not obligated.
Exactly, because they're not obligated. Like,
Yeah, but that would work in reverse too. So if I do it, I wasn't obligated, so then do it. The opposite is also misplaced?
I have no idea what you're just talking about. Like,
What was confusing about what Tom said?
Would you save a drowning child?
I don't know. I don't know why he's asking me that question. I don't understand why he's asking me that question.
Well, you made a claim, right? And he's asking you about. I don't understand.
Okay,
If I
can you
choose
just-
if I choose no, it's okay because I'm not obligated. If I choose yes, I'm not obligated to also. So that's fine.
Yeah, and
But you said it was
I am saying-
misplaced. You said it was misplaced.
No, I'm saying that your judgment about the lady is misplaced. Whatever you
But
do
then your
doesn't
judgment about me doing it is misplaced.
Oy.
Right?
This is unprotected.
About so I'm judging you judging a person.
Yeah, and that's misplaced.
No,
Because you're not obligated to
that
judge
in
it.
my
Are you obligated to judge me?
okay, whatever. Like this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Like you guys are being so disingenuous. Like it's so crazy. Like not even gonna entertain it.
We're being the ones that are
disingenuous?
disingenuous.
Yeah.
What are we, Con? If we're being disingenuous, right? You need to show us what we're being disingenuous about. You can't just throw around that term. We take it quite. So what are we being disingenuous about?
Like this is just a waste of my time. Like you guys are just circle jerking.
Yeah, sit the fuck down.
This is
Sit
the second time in
fuck-
a row Khan's piped up with some bullshit platitude that means nothing, then dug his heels in and then been pissed off when he was shown
Wipe
wrong.
the cum off your face.
Easy.
Sorry.
Getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Bully territory.
Good grief, Fury.
There's at least 11 more
Look,
rounds to
Khan, I mean, if someone if my best friend, I found out that he died because some girl wouldn't show a picture of her tits and she knew that would happen, I would think that she was a piece of shit.
That's fine. Yeah.
Don't tell me
Dude,
that's
dude.
fine. It's not adding anything. Oh, you're free to have your opinion. It's a free country. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Don't
You
I don't
are
I
free to
don't
have your
need to
opinion.
hear the platitudes, dude.
What do you want me to say?
Something
I don't
that's
understand why you're asking me this question. Like, why are you asking me this question?
I didn't ask you a question.
Like, why are you telling me that then? I don't understand. What do you want me to say? Like, seriously.
Well, you said you disagreed. So that's why, right?
He disagrees because it involves some ramifications to the person that actually showed the photograph, who actually gave the photograph. Whereas if you were asking something a lot simpler, like, if you give me that sandwich you're eating, I won't die. Then you would definitely give them the sandwich. That doesn't harm the person or affect them or affect their mental state or their self-respect or anything like that in any way whatsoever. It doesn't have any ramifications. They're not going to starve. They're not going to starve. They're not going to die from giving them the sandwich. But the other guy will if you don't give them the sandwich. When you're talking about giving up a piece of your self-respect, that's a completely different issue. So I don't think you can simplify it as a general.
Shay, that's subjective, right? So you can say that
It is
giving up that
subjective.
sandwich. Listen, well, don't interrupt me. When you say that it's giving up a sandwich, right? That could be giving up part of your self-respect if you give up that sandwich.
And
Well, I don't understand. The distinction is vacuous then. What are you talking about? You're the one
exactly.
who made the distinction.
If you're
So
gonna,
what are you talking
if Jovan is gonna go and play a game, and just like give me some bullshit unsubstantiated claim that sandwiches are as deeply important to
Okay, now that
self-respect
was
as
utterly
photographs are.
retarded, Shay. That was
No,
retarded.
it
Do you
wasn't.
agree?
No,
Stop.
you
You agree? Shay, stop. You agreed that it's subjective. So to say it's unsubstantiated after you agreed with the claim is retarded.
No, I'm talking about your sandwich. Your sandwich being the
Yes, the
problem.
sandwich. Yes,
Give me an example. Give me an example.
whether or not it's a
Give me one
self-respect issue is
example
going to be
of
subjective.
how giving up a sandwich is okay. We're just going to talk degrees
He
of
doesn't.
subjectivity.
What different? He doesn't have to. What
I
difference
think
would
he
that
does.
make?
I think he does, and I think
You've
that
already
nobody.
agreed that it could. Why would I give you an example?
All right, you got me there. I take it back.
We'll
But
say it
also, it
doesn't.
wouldn't matter though. What difference would it make if you could conceive of an example? We can conceive that there is some possible example. That's all that matters.
Some possible example. I still think that there
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
scenarios
there's
where
a
if you were asked to do something to save a person's life, okay, and supposedly you really knew that it was a life or death issue, okay, no matter how nonsensical it was,
So that's
that
until
there
by the
are
hypothetical.
excuse me, that's the all right. Well, the hypothetical can't completely ignore the way the specific example that you're giving. It's like you can have you're asking for a hypothetical, but then you're bringing in reality to it as well. You're bringing realistic reactions and
No,
consequences.
look, all the hypothetical. Maybe you don't understand what the hypothetical is, right? Look, this person will fucking die if you don't send them a picture of your breast, right? And which is the fact of the matter is this person for a fact is going to die if he doesn't receive a tit pic, right? And the claim is that it would be unthinkable for you not to send him that tit pic if you knew he was going to die.
It's a really bizarre hypothetical. Yeah. It's just a really twisted,
it's
bizarre
a hypothetical. It's just a thought
Well,
experiment.
why? Why would you pick that? What's your
Well,
point?
you're just ignoring.
What's your
Shay, don't come into these. All right, this is one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone starts talking about a hypothetical not being realistic. Don't ever fucking tell somebody the hypothetical isn't real. That's why we can't talk.
You're twisting what I said. You're twisting what I said. I didn't say the hypothetical was unrealistic. I know that. I said the example that you're giving can seem very realistic to people that are arguing it like Khan. And I think that's maybe why he's having trouble agreeing with the, crazy hypothetical.
Don't worry about Khan.
You just said crazy again.
Okay. You twisted what I said, Jovan. I didn't say that hypotheticals are what I didn't say anything about reality and realisticness of hypotheticals. I didn't say anything about that.
Your talk to Yuri said, look, this is a critical. Why would I even do?
He thought he needed to explain what a hypothetical was to me, so he explained it, although I understood what it was. I understand what a hypothetical is, Jovan. I was there.
Yuri, does she not have a problem answering the hypothetical?
Yeah.
Say what?
It seemed like she was adding additional variables that was trying to make a claim on whether or not it was based in reality. I quote. You said you even made the claim that the hypothetical wasn't based in reality. And I said it didn't make any difference.
I didn't say that. I never gave any opinion on the reality of the hypothetical. I gave an opinion on the specific example that you were giving and the consequences.
So when you say it's crazy, that's not you giving it's crazy.
What would happen
When you say it's crazy.
Hypothetical situation. Oh, you can.
So when you say it's crazy, what does that mean?
It's nonsensical.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Shay, you just fucked yourself. You said I had made no opinion, no statement on whether or not it was realistic. Then I just said it's nonsense.
Your two statements don't tie. That doesn't tie, Jovan. What's the association there? I don't understand.
What do you mean by nonsensical?
the whole setup of the hypothetical is
Yeah, what is it
extremely
nonsensical about it?
It doesn't
What
have
is
to be. You can put it's like a freaking Mad Lib. You can put whatever you want in it, and it'll still be
what is
arguments. And I'm
nonsensical
saying,
about?
How are you defining nonsensical in virtue of the hypothetical?
I need to hear the background story, maybe if there was one, about why the picture was necessary.
You're still not telling us what nonsensical
I
means.
I will
Doesn't
tell
make any
you in a
sense.
I'm telling you.
It's
When
meaningless.
I came in late. Okay, maybe I should
That
just
can't be
shut
what
up.
she means because it definitely has
Listen,
meaning.
Jovan, you're pissing me off because
I
you
know, I'm
keep
trying to
yelling
wake
at
it
me
up.
for talking over you, but you keep talking over me. Stop being a hypocrite. So what I'm
Go
saying
ahead,
is
Shay.
that
You're,
you're gonna
you're
make me
evil.
forget what I wanted to say because you keep interrupting me. That's what you want to do, isn't it?
We said go ahead.
All right, then stop telling me to go ahead so I can go ahead. I was saying that I didn't hear the backup story to the hypothetical. If you give me just the one statement, if you don't give this picture, this person will die. And that person and the picture giver knows that if they don't give the picture, that the other person's going to die. That specific scenario that you're going to say, and I'm not going to repeat right now, is nonsensical to me. And I didn't hear the backup
How is that
story.
nonsensical?
I can't discuss that.
You mean it lacks information? It
You're
lacks
literally
information.
just
Not that it's
saying
not
it's
there.
nonsensical.
It is. It's nonsense. It's a stupid
I'm
hypothetical.
saying it's too
You don't know
simplistic.
what nonsense means. You literally don't know what nonsense means.
Really?
Come on, Jovan. People can use words in a colloquial
Declan,
sense
what does
and
that mean?
not.
What does it mean to say that that
It
hypothetical was
doesn't
nonsense?
make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me because I
Declan,
didn't
do you
hear
agree
the
that it doesn't make
background.
any sense?
Well, look, in the way that
hear
she's
the
using it, I
background
understand that.
story
I
to
understand the
this.
way that she's using it. Right? It's not in a precise way. Like she's just saying, "Look, that seems retarded to me." Like that, she's not making some sort of like objective claim about the hypothetical as if it's like valid or invalid or some shit like that. You don't need to go that deep in the woods on that.
Why does it
Jovan,
matter
are
then?
you calling me
That's
out
like she can't
because
make
I'm
any
not a professional?
determination, right?
I can't
Sorry.
make a determinant. I'm not. Oh.
See, I don't
Okay,
understand
take it.
what's so
Carry on.
fucking hard about this.
Declan, you explain to me what's nonsensical about that hypothetical.
Well, look, so I sort of understand what she's saying when she says something like that. Just seems ridiculous, and it seems like it's a value judgment that's irreducible.
To say it's ridiculous is to say that it's not a realistic hypothetical, which is what she was denying.
No. Did you not just listen to what I said?
Then what do you mean by ridiculous?
Did you not just listen to what I said?
I did. You said it was ridiculous. What is
Yes, and
ridiculous?
I told you what I mean by that. Did you listen to the very last statement I made?
What does ridiculous means?
Did you or did you not listen to what I said, Jovan?
Yes, I did, but I thought it had
What did I
nothing to do
say?
with ridiculous. I thought it
Jovan,
didn't define ridiculous.
did I miss a backup
Hey, what
story
in
to
the
this
oh my god.
hypothetical? Yuri, be quiet. I really
You didn't.
did I miss? Can I just
No.
ask one question? Did I miss a backup story to this hypothetical?
No. And it
No,
wouldn't
what you said
matter.
is completely sensical. What
Can
you said,
I?
that hypothetical, completely
No, you
sensical.
can't.
Has no.
Oh, but real quick, say basically what had happened was like Tom was saying, like all these girls on this Discord are like they think of their own bodies as so sacred that they wouldn't send a nude to save someone's life. Or maybe that I can't remember if that was Tom or Jovan who said that. Maybe I can't remember. I think it was Tom.
Okay, and did they explain why it would be such a life or death issue that this person required the photo in order not to die?
No.
It's irrelevant.
Well,
It's
that's what I'm
irrelevant to the
calling
hypothetical.
nonsensical. That's what I'm calling.
That's
it makes no sense. I
dumb.
know it's a hypothetical. And I'm just saying it's a ridiculous,
Yeah,
bizarre.
that's dumb to say it's ridiculous then. What's ridiculous about it? What's ridiculous
You
about it?
gave no.
Jay,
A
could you specify?
hypothetical. Listen, all you're saying,
I
Shay.
don't. It
Stop.
doesn't.
All you're saying, Shay, is that you want additional context, but that doesn't make a hypothetical ridiculous just because you want to add more to the hypothetical.
Calling a hypothetical ridiculous doesn't fit in the whole context. I understand that. You can't call a hypothetical ridiculous because it has no. It's just a philosophy. I know it's the black and white philosophy. I know the difference. I know what you're talking about. What I'm saying is that I am bringing some reality into. Well,
Look, the hypothetical.
hold on, I'm getting interrupted. I can't talk. Give me a minute. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
The hypothetical is simply just an instrument to ask a person which of the two value more.
Right.
Having no one see your breasts or person dying or the person staying alive. That's
Right.
it.
Boom. Got it.
I understand that.
Right, so if
Sorry,
I
I didn't
ask
talk earlier.
Right, and if I just ask you which one you value more, I mean, for you to say that's nonsense, that would be
No, no, that's not what I said.
well. That's
You
all
said
the
it was
hypothetical
nonsense
Setup.
is. That's what the
debate.
hypothetical
Well,
is.
all right, and I'm calling the hypothetical I'm calling the hypothetical example nonsensical.
What's the
because I have no.
difference?
I'm
That's a
not going.
distinction
I'm
between.
not. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yuri, stop. Stop it, Yuri.
Yuri, for
Jesus
fuck's
Christ.
sakes, dude.
Jesus Christ. Fine, go.
Khan had trouble answering the question to Tom, or
Thank you,
giving
BB.
or agreeing with Tom. Khan had trouble, agreeing or concurring with the statement. If you don't give this picture, the person will die. Everybody would, of course, give up the picture, and Khan couldn't agree to it. And I just chimed in because I was giving a reason why, my opinion of why he didn't want to give an example and concur, because the whole setup is ridiculous, and the specific, exact, precise example that you gave is nonsensical, in my opinion. It just, you didn't give any backup for it. You didn't tell me. You didn't like. I know I'm hurting your philosophy, vibrate your philosophy brains right now, but that's just my input.
You're hurting hypotheticals at all. Like, you're just rejecting the idea of a hypothetical. You're saying unless we give you more information that you want, you can't answer that hypothetical.
I also said that if you were to, respect the hypothetical clearly as just a hypothetical and just, nouns and verbs and shit in the example, that the consequences of giving the photograph, okay, giving the photograph might have consequences for the giver.
But then
never
that
mind
begs
this.
the question. But that begs the
So you're
question back to
adding
what
more
Tom
to
just
the
said. Hold
hypothetical.
on, please let me say something. That begs the question. Then, are those consequences that you might
Right.
sustain from sharing the photo worse than that person dying because you?
Right.
So that's really all that matters, is what the answer to that is, and then we could forget about the hypothetical being ridiculous.
Well, the consequences are irrelevant to the hypothetical. Again, it's adding additional context that's
Right,
not.
I know. I agree with you, Jovan. That's what I'm saying. That you put it simply for me. I agree that the consequences are irrelevant to the hypothetical because it's just a hypothetical. So just forget I ever. And I bet Khan still won't give an answer.
I mean, does this mean that we can never talk about stuff like the trolley problem because there would never be 3 people strapped on one track and then another one on the other track, and just like, well, this is ridiculous. Let's not talk about this, you know?
You're right.
What if it was projected? What if it was projected there's gonna be a strong wind that day that blew the train off the track?
Oh my God, I'm
Well,
gonna get this for an hour.
Tom, to an extent, yeah, but the trolley problem is actually saying, like, here's a problem, and you decide by pulling the lever or shooting the guy. Like, it's describing how it happens. At least one step. Yeah, you could keep going. Well, what if?
It just seems so weird, man. I don't get it.
You don't get it, Yuri. I know.
It's just so weird. I mean, it's like the hypothetical, the moral problem, right? On whether it's an objection to antinatalism, right? And one of the problems is that would you rather, if you knew the world was coming to an end, right? And in this hypothetical, you knew the world was coming to an end, and so either you can live the last you only have 2 weeks to live, so you can be any rational human, right? And last for 2 weeks, but there's this little compartment built by scientists that you can go into, right? And basically, in this little pod that you're in, this pod will blow itself up. But in the process of blowing itself up, right, and you have to go with it because the explosion is so huge, right? You're going to die with it. But you can press the button and it will blow itself up. But as it blows itself up, it shoots seeds all into the air, right? And because it shoots seeds all into the air, they will spread all over the earth, right? Causing life to grow. Now, which one would you choose? Live your last 2
What
weeks
the fuck
or
is
blow
going
you and
on?
yourself up to get seeds all over the world? So,
This is still not going to get you nudes from Shay, Yuri.
I'm not. Jesus Christ. I don't want to get.
Can I get? just thought of an example, and
But I'm just saying,
I'm
but hold on real quick before you do that. I'm just saying that it seems like if you just deny hypotheticals, we could never have moral conversations. It just seems so weird. Because the
I know
whole thing
life would
about a
be
hypothetical or like a possible world is just invoking the way things could have been or like a different state of affairs. And so it doesn't
I
matter of
know.
a backstory for how the machine was built or is it even
Yuri.
possible for like a machine to spray
Yuri,
seeds or
do you think that I'm dissing hypotheticals in general? Is that
yeah,
what?
when you say
No,
that
why would I
when
do
you say
that?
that
Why
it's
would I diss
nonsensical.
hypotheticals? No, hypotheticals are necessary for progression of humanity. Of course, I am not dissing hypotheticals.
You said
Hypotheticals are
verbatim that they were
mandatory.
nonsensical.
I said the one specific example. Did you not hear anything that I
That's
said for the last 20
trivial. What
minutes?
else would we be talking about,
All right,
Shay?
let me give
That
the
would be
example.
trivial.
Listen,
That would be
no, it's not. What do you mean, what else could we be talking about? Here's an example of what else we could be talking about. We could be talking about if somebody was going to die and they needed for you to give them something. Give me a fucking noun. Give me a noun. They
A
needed
liver.
you to give them your
Why would that
liver.
matter?
Okay? Listen, just sit tight and listen for just 3 minutes, okay? 2 minutes. I'll try
Jesus
and quick
Christ.
it up. Shush. So if you didn't give them your liver, okay? I don't know if this is going to work or not, but okay, if you didn't give them your liver, they were going to die,
It's
okay?
nonsensical.
But you needed your this is a
Just
bad
let her
example.
speak, guys. Come on, guys, be respectful. Let her speak. Come on, Shay. I'm sorry.
You have in your possession a golden charm, okay? And that person wants your golden charm so that they can stay alive, okay? So if you give up the golden charm, you will survive, you will live, but you will not have the powers of the golden charm anymore. So you give the golden charm to the person who says they're going to die without it, and then that person that you gave the golden charm to, who is now not going to die, takes the golden charm and curses you for the rest of your life, and you end up committing suicide.
Whoa.
Which one would you choose?
The one that most people would choose.
Yeah, save his life and don't let him die, but you
Yeah.
end up dying instead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't see what. Look, when you say that it's a particular example of the hypothetical, that's what we're referring to, right? Unless you're talking about the definition of a hypothetical,
Why is his death more valuable than the person who originally owned the charm?
it's a thought experiment.
I know,
It's an
and I'm asking
intuition
you
pump.
why. Why?
Well, that's just going to be irreducible to the aims, goals, and desires of the agent.
And the aims, goals, and desires of the agent who received the charm are not are malicious. Whereas
Well, yeah,
the intentions of the charm owner initially was completely neutral and had nothing to do with the.
I don't see why that's relevant, though. But
It
you made
is
the
relevant
you
because
said
of
it was
consequences.
nonsensical, right? And the
No,
point
I didn't say this was nonsensical, Yuri. You are not listening to me. I said the
how does this
initial
address what I'm saying, though?
hypothetical was nonsensical. Why are you having trouble understanding that? Why
What's
do
the
you think that
difference?
I don't understand what a hypothetical is, Yuri? Do you think that I
Why is
don't understand what a hypothetical is?
look! I'm getting really,
Please give me a
I'm
little
getting
bit of
like
credit, okay?
really fucking pissed off right now. I'm
So
getting
am
like
I.
actually berserkly angry at you right now.
Likewise.
Just take it easy, bro.
Berserker mode engaged.
Look, okay, this is your last fucking chance. You understand me?
Yeah, right, Yuri.
The claim. Look, the claim is the claim that you made, right, was that it was nonsensical. But the only thing we're talking about, right, is the titty example, right, within the hypothetical. So we wouldn't be talking about anything else. You said that the example by that is nonsensical, right? And now that's the
In a
claim that we're
colloquial
talking about.
term, I said it, Yuri. I didn't say it
What's
in
the other
philosophy
colloquial?
for
Well, what's the
philosophy
colloquial?
class 475. Okay, I said it colloquially.
Oh my God, this is
Yeah,
Jesus.
we're past this. Everybody discussed that. They
Oh
understood that
my
I was
God.
you. Declan said it. Do you remember anything? Did you listen, or are you just finding a reason to, shit on me?
Jesus,
Shut
I'm
the
done.
fuck.
Even if it's the colloquial way, right? Why can't I just say now that your hypothetical with the charm is nonsensical because I don't know whether it's actually going to save his life.
It'll always have to be
No, it's going to save
yeah.
his life. It's going to save his life. Period. Just like it was going to save his life with the photograph. Yuri.
It's possible for humans to travel at the speed of light because we can conceive of some hypothetical in which humans travel at the speed of light.
But
Are
no,
you
that
getting high off
hypothetical.
it? Are you getting high off and making me sound like an idiot? Because I don't think you're doing a good job of it, and you're not going to end up feeling too good about it. So just chill. Will you chill? Why are you so mad?
I just said people do this dishonest shit all the time, right? Then we got to check the recordings to see what people actually, and like conversations and time gets wasted, and then people back out of them like, "Why are you mad, bro?" And you spent like fucking an hour like trying to explain it with this person, and it turns out this person wasn't even making the claim that you originally thought they were making. And it turns
This
out when
has
you
been
check the
over
recording, they
for
were
20
lying.
minutes. This has been over for 20
We were
minutes.
still
You keep
talking about.
rewinding. No, I brought up another hypothetical.
Yeah, Jovan slammed Declan's analysis of the situation, so the conversation wasn't
The conversation wasn't what?
over.
Well, if he slammed if he slammed Declan, then it's over, isn't it? I mean, like, what's left of Declan if he slammed Declan? And Declan was kind of explaining a little bit of what I was saying, and I even said, okay, I retracted. I if it's not nonsensical. I was talking about nonsense.
Look,
the terms of ridiculous, bizarre, crazy, unfathomable, that kind of thing. That's what I was saying.
Right, but that is vacuous. Then. But look, hold on, Jovan. That's just
Do we
vacuous.
still have to do this?
That's just vacuous, though, because that's what it means to be a hypothetical in the first place.
Yuri,
A hypothetical isn't
Yuri,
designed to be based on.
Yuri.
So it's just vacuous. That whole distinction doesn't inform anyone of anything.
What
Well, that's not
distinction?
true. That's not true. A hypothetical
If she
could be.
says that a hypothetical is unfathomable, right? Look, Jovan,
No,
is
that's
it
not what I
unfathomable
said.
for
Yuri,
humans to
that's
travel at the
not
speed
what.
of light?
No,
For a lot of humans, it's
shit,
unfathomable
no,
for humans
Yuri,
to travel at the
Yuri,
speed
stop, Yuri, no, hypothetical, she thought.
I'm done.
She
I've
said,
been done.
she said she thought that particular hypothetical.
What?
She says she thought that particular hypothetical was nonsensical, not all hypotheticals. But I have a problem with her saying that particular hypothetical is nonsensical because there's nothing nonsensical about the hypothetical, and there's nothing she can point to that says it would to say that it's nonsensical.
Because no hypotheticals can ever be nonsensical.
But Jovan, that was the point I was
I
trying
never said that either, Shay.
All right.
I'm saying in that particular hypothetical, there's nothing you can point to say that is nonsensical.
Right.
Everything about the hypothetical makes sense.
I
It's
conceded,
coherent.
Jovan. I said I know it's a hypothetical, and I said I was just commenting on it. Oh my God, this is just a.
You're again misunderstanding me. I'm not saying you did not know it was a hypothetical. Say it wasn't a hypothetical.
I didn't say that.
I already
said
said
that.
you're.
Yuri did. Oh, sorry. Yuri said that. You never said that.
Also, I'm not mad at you, Shay. I'm just talking louder because it's on my phone. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I got hostile too. It's just like we get a lot of this shit that happens, and I was taking.
Oh, you are definitely hostile. You.
Yeah, sorry, I was being a bully. I'm.
Declan trying to white knight though, man. Got shot down.
Look,
Man, I got shut the fuck down.
No, it actually didn't because you didn't listen to what I said.
Right.
Got shot the fuck down. He
Shut
fell
up.
off his fucking horse. He fell off his horse, broke his leg, and now he's never back on a white horse.
I was talking to some seriously philosophy-minded people, and I should have just shut up because that went somewhere where I did not intend it to go. So.
Well, Shay, even colloquially, I don't understand what you mean by it saying it doesn't make sense because it completely doesn't.
Jovan, do you ever I asked if there was an example or a story behind that premised the hypothetical, and everybody said no. It was just spewed out as an example, as a hypothetical. So I said, okay, then where will you ever have a situation in real life? Okay, I know hypotheticals are not real life, but this is where I was coming from. In real life, where you would have a situation such as that occur. And then I said, it makes no sense. I know, Yuri, do you understand that I'm not talking to you from philosophy? I'm talking to you from colloquial. Do you understand?
Well, colloquialism is uninformative, though, since you already admitted that hypotheticals aren't based in reality.
What?
A hypothetical doesn't have to not be based in reality.
Right. And I was just talking about the
She didn't
consequence
say
of
they
it.
did.
No, forget it. You guys, forget it. Just forget it. I don't know why Khan didn't answer the question or comment on it. Let's just leave it.
Because Khan, can we go back to what Khan said? He's like, it's not immoral for her not to do it because she's not obligated. That was fucking hilarious.
Right.
I was hoping he would defend that position a little bit more, but
Like if I had just simply give up a penny out of my pocket, just one penny to save 1,000 lives, is he going to say, well, it's okay for me not to do that because I'm not obligated to?
I would
Of
imagine
course
so.
not. And
Like
that's
nobody's going
why
to think that he's like a shitty person for not giving up one penny to save 1,000 lives.
you didn't ask him that. And he's
But
probably not
it's
going to
along with
answer.
it goes with what he said. He would have to answer that. No, he would not give that. He would think that they're not obligated. Well, since they're not obligated, they're not bad people for not doing.
Did you hear my golden charm example, Jovan?
No.
You
No.
didn't?
The example is just that you get fucked up if you do what you were gonna
Yeah, basically. You end up dying.
Well, it's going to depend on the amount of fucked up, right? It's just going to
I
depend how
said you
much
end up
value.
dying.
do. Maximally fucked up.
Oh, if you
You did
die to
some.
save their life, then yeah, I wouldn't fault anybody for fucking not dying to save someone else's life. But to die, I wouldn't tell somebody they should kill themselves to save someone else's life. That's dumb. If like literally your only punishment for sending your tits is going to be, well, the guy sees your tits, then yeah, it's going to be fucked up for you not to send your tits.
Look, I can't actually speak about the golden charm hypothetical. I need to know what carat of gold the charm is comprised of.
Magic. Magical golden.
It's
Magical
ridiculous.
gold.
I don't understand it. It's nonsensical.
All right, we're talking about magical,
Jove.
look, carrots are based on reality. If you're talking about a magical
Oh
carrot,
my
I can't
god.
answer it.
All
That's
right.
nonsense.
You have until 12 midnight and then you have to stop, okay? Everybody, you can bash me till 12 midnight and then.
Is that a hypothetical?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't sound like a realistic hypothetical, though. How long is this 12 midnight exactly?
Yeah, why only until 12 midnight? Is there some kind of magic involved or something?
Yes, again.
How do we know
yes.
that it's the case, though?
If you think that people in this room, including myself, are going to let something go at midnight, you're out of your mind.
It's got traction. It's going to be.
They're gonna. Whatever.
Yeah, I wish that Khan would have tried to defend his. Funny.
Yeah, I think we should have let Shay go though. Now that I think about it, I think we wasted.
I mean, so check this out. I think this was just about 2 years. Was it 2 years ago? Approaching 2 years. I was talking to John, and he was like, "Declan, you think you're a good father?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm a terrible father." And now every time he comes on, he's like, "Declan said he was a bad father. He even says it himself."
Right.
Like 2 years later.
Right.
Just says that he's a dipshit.
Yep.
No,
Right.
but John's responsible now. He got himself a job that pays like just above minimum wage. You know.
Do you think you're making more than John?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't make any. I don't have any income.
Oh, I was confused.
I mean, I probably make. If I wanted to, I could make more money than John could probably make in a day. If I'm being
with all
realistic.
that life experience and work.
All those skills.
Well,
It's
I've
not like
had a lot
John
of,
needed any of that to get his job. He just
well,
needed
I've
relatives.
I've had like a lot of businesses in the past and stuff like that where I made like serious fuck tons of money. So.
Serious. Yeah.
You have? Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, really, yeah. Manual
When?
labor, you get paid. You can get paid a lot doing manual. Well, this was like way before I knew you guys.
Oh.
Yeah, manual labor is known for its
I
cash
took the
cow
money and built
status.
Book of bucks.
How long
No,
have
I
you
got.
been in this server?
People are actually going to try and get. They're going to start
I've
offering
been in the
degrees in
server
it.
for about I've been in the server for about. I think it's been over a year now. Long.
So you'd have been what, like 16?
I would have been like 14 or 15 at the time.
when you were.
Yeah, but like big bucks back when I was a teenager was being able to buy like a portable CD player. I mean, that's like it's.
Well, I mean, I guess what I mean. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just comparing it to. I can make more than John could ever make in a day. That's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't be able to do. I wouldn't make more than him in an entirety, right? Because he gets a consistent paycheck. I'm just saying, if I wanted to, I could make more than him in a day. That's all I'm saying. And I could work. I could work less, you know, and do.
Well, he smokes weed all day.
Yeah.
Hey, Declan. You there?
Nope.
Nope, apparently.
Yeah, I am now. What's up?
So this morning, Darth Dawkins showed me. It surprised me this morning. He wrote a defeater I had for the Christian God that I wrote back in April.
Uh-huh.
He had apparently saved it, and his response to it was that I had already shot myself in the foot because I didn't accept the Christian God. That was his answer to my defeater.
Yeah, that's what he does in presuppositionalism. Like in any other arena, that would be called begging the question.
Yep. He read my defeater, like he read the whole thing, and he read it very slowly and very carefully. I was surprised by that.
This happened in politics?
Yeah, in politics, an atheist helpline this morning. That I had written in April.
And you just happened to be there when he stumbled across it, or you reminded him?
No. I was talking with Jonathan and a few other guys, and then I finally went to yeah, Richie, I got wrecked. I happened to be in there discussing with those guys, and I finally went to text because they started doing the routine and started talking over me and everything. I finally went to text because I got tired of trying to maintain the conversation. And then Darth jumps in and says, Andrew Kiss is a atheist, blah blah blah, and here is a Christian defeater that he wrote back in April. And he said the date, and he went back and he read it. And I was that, which means that he still had it in his mind that he had read it before and that he had it saved somewhere.
Probably made a note on you.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a happy moment for me.
He really prides himself of people.
Oh yeah, I put a note down on this guy, man, and this.
Oh, I know who you. According to this, you're an atheist troll.
His response to my defeater actually supported the point that my defeater was making, so it was a beautiful moment.
How long's your defeater? Could you rattle it off, or?
I'll post it. It involves vicious versus virtuous circles in circular reasoning.
Oh wow. Super chat from NJ. Evolution False is great. Yeah, I mean he's great. He's kind of not as active as he. Kind of just like repeat himself. It's kind of.
Who?
Evolution False is one of Darth
Darth.
Dawkins.
Yeah.
Thank you, NJ.
Okay, I posted it in chat.
I was thinking about re-offering the $300 that I had offered Evolution False Debate Jack. I kind of took it off the table after a while just because I don't like to just have stuff in the air for a long time. I don't really like the idea of that. But I was thinking about making the formal offer again. I don't think he would accept it.
That's actually. I didn't know you actually did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He even stipulated, at first I was gonna give it to the charity of his choice, or like a church or whatever. But then I thought, well, that could be perceived as maybe a little shady, or like he's not really sure whether the money, like, what do I have to prove? Maybe just like I just say that I did it, or maybe some receipt. So then I changed it to without him bringing this up, just in case. I just changed it to I'll just give you the money, and then if you want, you can obviously you can give it to the charity if you have the money.
Yeah, but that ain't no bitch crime directive's probably gonna come kicking in.
Yeah.
Because it's like now that he knows you make videos about him and shit, he can't be seen being involved with anything that you're doing.
Hey Ben, I just realized something. So Ben, you see the characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know the first character is you, right? But the last one, I guess I'm inferring. I don't know if it's either just R or is it re? It's the like the backwards S in the line. Is that
3.
it's re? Okay, cool. I didn't know they had that character. Okay, because I didn't know how they would break it up. I didn't know if it was just gonna be an R and then something. Okay, that's cool. So, because I've learned the first character, I just haven't learned that. That black guy I showed you yesterday, though, man, he goes to like South Korea and he like gets like so many girls, man. He got
That
like
guy is
tons of
nasty.
video. Yeah, even though he was kind of a dork, I mean, but yeah, he definitely he's getting like females, man. And he doesn't he's not even all that. He's like bald and he's like really dark. I'm like lighter than him and I have like cool hair, so not like short hair like most black people have. I actually have like longer hair. So that's crazy. Um, I think he lives in South Korea actually, which is pretty cool.
You should contact him.
Yeah, yeah. We should get him in on here.
Do you straighten your hair, Yuri?
No, I kind of do it in like an aviator cut most of the time, or like sometimes a high top if I'm lazy. I used to box it a bit, but I didn't like that look, so I just round it. And so most of the hair in the front is curlier. But I want to really, since I had it cut like